Hello and welcome back to the DR Sports channel for yet another edition of the Saturday Football Show. We're bringing you the live 3 o'clock kickoffs from the Premier League and also keeping a firm eye on the Championship too. Before we introduce our esteemed guest today, remember, like the video, it doesn't cost you anything. Make sure you're commenting as well. And of course, subscribe to the DR Sports channel if you haven't already. Let's introduce my guest. To my right, I have the better Lyle, some would say. I've got Laurie Lyle in the studio. Let's get some energy.
Energy.
How are you, fella?
Thanks, bro. I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah?
I'm
Good
excited
to have you
be here.
here
Looking
too.
forward to it.
It's actually my first time presenting the DR Sports Saturday Football Show, so I'm very excited. To my left, we have a man who's watching Leeds versus Newcastle today. All the way from Newcastle, it's Matty Renton. Magpie Channel. How are we, fella?
Good, mate. Good. Very nervous. Big game today at Elland Road. Need to make sure we get something out of it so Leeds don't increase that ever-growing gap of us getting away from safety, but we'll see how things pan out. I think it could be a bit of a mad one today, entertaining game I'm expecting.
Well, listen, I'm not saying you're going to get relegated, but you are going to be keeping one eye on the Championship for us today as well.
Violation.
Also to my left is man like Lewis. How are we? Let's give him a round of applause. How are we, fella? Are you okay?
Yeah, Chelsea aren't playing today, so the day's going all right.
So why are you here? What are you here for today?
I don't even know, but it's not Chelsea, so
Right,
I don't have to be depressed on this.
chilled,
Thank
chilled
God.
one.
The expert football analysis that is coming from Lewis is why he's here today. So guys, thank you for joining us. It's going to be a great show. Do stick with us. Let's waste no time in getting into this one. So we're going to be looking at Brentford versus Wolves, also Leeds at home to Newcastle. A proper old school game that. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that one goes. And of course, Manchester United versus West Ham. That is going to be a belter as well. Let's get into some of the lineups for these games if we can. Because again, some big games happening. Let's look at the lineups then for Brentford versus Wolves in the 3 o'clock kickoff. Also, we will be reacting to Everton's home defeat against Stevie G's Aston Villa. Stevie G has won against Everton 16 times in his career before, more than any other team. He's got another win as a manager today. He's definitely given the Everton fans a good stare down as well. So that was great to see. But let's get into the lineups. Matty, if you want to read them out for Brentford versus Wolves, and then we'll go to Leeds Newcastle after.
Brentford going for the good old 3-5-2. Russell in goal, Aya, Janssen, Pinnock at the back. They've got Canas Tenes, Jensen, there's Norgerson, Yenat, Henry, Ivan Toney, ex-Magpie up front with Mbuemo. So you know what you're going to get with Brentford, don't you? Really, it's very similar to the team that got beat.
Well, they played at Anfield. I was there
Man
last
United
week
the
at
other
Anfield. They put in a good shift actually. Mbuemo looks really good as well.
I rate Brentford. I rate Thomas Frank. I think he's doing bits there considering the job he's got at hand and the finances they've been given. Brentford have looked a decent side so far in the Premier League.
I would agree.
And playing Wolves today. We will get into our predictions as well, by the way. We have got them written down. Let's just go on to the Wolves team. Who can we see up top?
Wolves are matching Brentford's formation, 3-5-2 for Wolves as well. Saw, who's been in incredible form, one of the best keepers in the league so far this season. Kilman, Cody and Gomez at the back. Semedo, Dendonka, Neves, Moutinho and Ait-Nouri in the midfield, with a strong front of Soares and Pedence. So no Raul Jimenez today.
No Raul Jimenez
for Wolves.
Interesting that. Different formation for them as well.
Yes, that is interesting. I think they're trying to go toe-to-toe with Brentford today by the looks of that.
It looks like it. Let's get into the Newcastle team as well. Obviously your team playing Leeds today at Elland Road. Always a tough fixture, Laurie. Elland Road, isn't it? Hard place to go.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, fans will be up for it. Like you said, good old-fashioned game. I'm looking forward to this game. I'm hoping Newcastle come through.
Well, listen,
Cheers,
we're with
Thank
Matty
you, mate.
today.
Yes.
He's come
Do you
dressed
wanna wear this, mate?
head to toe in the
No, but you know
Castlereagh
what
gear.
it is, right? I'm not just saying this because Matty was here, but or he's here. I'm saying it because being an old school fan, there's something quite iconic about Newcastle. Like a lot of neutral fans tend to like Newcastle. Now they got the money. I think you're going to find a few more haters. But
100%.
in normal circumstances, I think Newcastle resonates with fans.
Yeah,
90s vibes.
Lewis, do you want to read out the Leeds team? Because they're, again, a team in transition. They've got a great player in Rafinha. Who are they starting today?
We got Mailer in goal. Oh, these pronunciations are going to be horrific. But yeah, Leeds are in a 4-1-4-1 formation. You got Ayling, Llorente, Stojic. Thank God. I knew it was going to be terrible. Sorry. But yeah, Dallas at left back, Koch in the middle, Click and Moreno in the midfield three as well. Harrison, Rafinha on the wings, and I think Dan James up top.
Harrison, fresh off a hat-trick, by the way, at the West Ham Stadium.
Yeah, they're going to be filled with confidence as well.
4-1, 4-1.
Let's get into the Newcastle team. Matty could almost be on the bench today if you look at his full attire. He's got the tracksuit.
Straight off the team bus.
Straight off the team bus. But
could be going for a full tie if I got the hat.
Straight out the pub onto the team bus.
Exactly, you need the headphones. You'd be the Geordie tie.
Headphones.
Let's get into the Newcastle team.
So Newcastle going for the Eddie Howe 4-3-3. We've constantly seen him play this throughout the time he's been here. Martin Dubravka is in goal. The best player, new signing, Kieran Trippier right back.
Wow.
He's head and shoulders above the rest. We've seen so far since he's signed.
Already?
You can completely tell the difference.
Really?
There's Newcastle fans calling for him to be given the armband. He is that good, honestly. You can see his class shines through. I mean, it's not hard. Classic Italy class, is it? Do you know what I mean? There's not much of that class in there. Zero class. He's the head teacher. The rest are kids.
No, I don't know, man. You got a couple good players. St. Maximin,
Couple of good players. We'll get to them.
Callum Wilson.
Well, let him read them out.
Wilson's injured, unfortunately. So Dubravka in there. Back four of Trippier, Lascelles, Fabian Shaw, and Paul Dummett. Midfield three of Joe Linton, a re-injuvenated Joe Linton. Best thing Eddie Howe's done is dropped him to midfield. John Joe Shelby and Joe Willock comes back in for his first start in a few months after a big money move, 25 million from Arsenal. Hasn't quite worked out for Joe Willock since he's made his move to Tyneside. Ryan Fraser up top with Chris Wood, £25 million signing Chris Wood. A lot of laughs and jokes over him. Alongside the star man, Alan St. Maximin. So it's a good front three. It's a decent lineup, but there's still a lot of work to be done in the transfer window on that team, to be honest, if we're going to try and stay up.
Yeah, there's a few weeks off, the window still open, so let's see how Newcastle react to that. Let's go through the Manchester United lineup. In goal, David De Gea, who apparently has made 72 saves in the Premier League this season, which is more than Edison and Alisson combined. And United fans seem to think that's a good stat. It just means that your goal is getting peppered a lot more than other teams. But let's get into it. De Gea, Dalot at right back, Maguire and Varane. Maguire been dropped recently, back in the team. Tejes at left back, Fred, McTominay and Fernandes in the middle. And they've gone up top with Ronaldo. He starts the game. To the right of him, he's got Greenwood, and to the left, Junior Elaga, who scored the other night as well, and is a player, Lewis, that Manchester United are looking at to be maybe the next guy. And he starts today over the likes of Cavani, Martial on the bench, Mata on the bench, Van der Beek always on the bench, but Rashford on the bench as well. Do you think this is a strong lineup here for Manchester United?
I don't blame United for experimenting at this point, to be honest, because a lot of their big name players haven't turned up, and now Ollie's gone, there's no excuses on their neck. Like Elanga, we already said, had a very inspiring performance against Brentford, and you know what, it's good to build on that too, because it's the youth players that look like they care more. It's always the case when you've got a big team that's flopping. It's always the big names that let you down. So maybe it's a reality check to them. Maybe it's just more their ability at this point, but we'll have to see. It all comes with the result.
Yeah, I've predicted a draw on that one, just to give you a little bit of insight into our predictions, which we will get into it. For West Ham, Areola in goal, Soufal at right back, Dawson, Zuma and Cresswell make up the back five. In the middle, you've got Souček and Rice, which has pretty much been their partnership for the last 18 months now. Some partnership they've started to combine there with. In the behind the Antonio up front, you've got Fornals, Lanzini and Bowen. Three players, Matty, I can think of that have all recently scored goals for West Ham. Obviously, they did lose their last game, but Bowen, Lanzini and Fornals all in form.
I mean, they could go to Old Trafford and cause a madness today with that lineup. Honestly, I think Antonio's missed the last few trips to Old Trafford as well, so he could cause a problem. There's goals everywhere in that West Ham team, even from midfield, even from set pieces. They're a real threat. It's going to be interesting today because that can have a big effect on the top four race as well, can't it? The West Ham Man U game, so it's going to be a close one.
It will be a close one. We'll be keeping a keen eye on that. We're about 19 minutes away from kickoff. Let's talk about Everton versus Aston Villa. They're still breaking it down now. According to this, Felipe Coutinho was the man of the match. Obviously, a former Liverpool player, managed by the former Liverpool captain, who obviously today played.
Always got to make it about Liverpool.
Oh, well, listen, that's what you get when you
no hint of bias.
No, of course not. Not like you. But listen, Aston Villa have won today, Matty. Gerrard has a huge win there at Everton. We watched the game in the first half together. He was staring those Everton fans down in the first half as they were walking across the pitch.
Love to see that, to be fair. Cheeky little smirk from Gerrard, wasn't it? Just weighing them up. You just need to give it the Hulk Hogan after that, you know what I mean? Just give it the eardrum. He wasn't fazed by it. He loves it, doesn't he? And he said it takes the pressure off his players by getting wound up by the Everton supporters. It worked in their favour. We've seen Everton supporters, throwing bottles of Fanta on the pitch. against Lucas Digne, the ex-Everton player. So Aston Villa today got the job done, and what a start it's been for Gerrard at Villa. Unbelievable.
It's been great.
He probably knows half of the fans.
Well, exactly.
Family
members in there, exactly. Let's talk about one of the boiling points in the match, Lewis. At half-time, or just before half-time, Buendia scored the winning goal, great header from a corner. In the celebrations, obviously Lucas Digne just left Everton maybe 2 weeks ago, coming back already. He knew this was going to be a feisty one, but to get bottles thrown at you, what kind of punishment do you think that deserves? Because we're seeing it happen quite a lot now at games.
I mean, it's just going to be the typical bans and possible prosecutions, but I was surprised by it because I didn't think Lucas Digne left in a bad way with the Everton fans. I know obviously he was one of their key players, they did want to keep him, but it was due to the fallout with Benitez, and I thought a lot of Everton fans understood that, which was half the reason why they were turning on him. So I don't know if it's saltiness or what, but I was really surprised by the response.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not so surprised, to be honest, because we've seen this the other day at Arsenal. They were throwing bottles on the pitch after one of our games.
Listen,
scored against. It's a worrying sign, isn't it?
It's not on, and something has to be done about it. There's been a lot more. You can't call them streakers unless they're fully clothed, but people that in pitch invaders. That's what
pitch
you would call
invaders.
Them, pitch
Yeah.
invaders. There's
That's
been a lot
so
of that
old school,
recently.
though, streaking.
Streaking. Oh, it doesn't happen anymore, does it? I'm not
used to be
saying.
a thing, though,
I'm
didn't
not
it?
saying to bring it back.
So it's only streaking if they take.
This is the first one that came to
You
mind.
want
It's
the
only
Champions
streaking
League
though if they
final
take their
back,
clothes
that's
off.
True.
It's
Exactly.
only a streaking
Pitch
if they take their
invaders.
clothes
Let's
off,
call them
yeah.
that. They are fully clothed, but there's been a lot of that going on in the Premier League recently, which isn't something you'd necessarily like to see. There
don't
are
want to see
games
it.
as well in the
There's
Championship
a
today,
good amount of
Matty.
Everton fans still in the ground.
There are, and there's, by the way, if you are
Security.
still watching the coverage on BT Sport, there's sack the board signs
Wow.
in the Everton kind of fan base there behind the goal, which definitely isn't something that Everton fans want to see. But of course, there are games in the Championship as well, Matty. Let's look at some of the 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Why am I having to cover that? What's
Well,
the dig here? Is that some sort of tease, is it?
Listen, the producer
come, is
has
it?
told me
Do you
to
know what I
get
mean?
Matty to talk about the Championship because you might be in it
Violation.
next season.
Might be, might not.
Well, you might not be, but let's talk about the
It's
games that
looking
are
likely,
going
isn't
on
it?
anyway. Again, we've just seen a massive win for Nottingham Forest in the derby
Yeah.
against Derby.
Yeah, well, exactly. Derby, who are in real danger of liquidation happening. You know, ex-Newcastle owner Mike Ashley linked with the purchase of the club, but Derby fans look staring down the barrel of liquidation, which is sad to see. You never want to see that happen at any football club.
Well, I
you know,
don't
Derby
know.
as well.
I wouldn't mind
Some.
seeing
Well, you may not
Some.
see some. Well,
I wouldn't mind seeing Tottenham and Chelsea liquidate.
so yeah, well, I used to say that about Sunderland, but now it's been boring that they've been in
Yeah.
League One for years. I
Yeah.
want the Derby days back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You missed them. Well, you missed them when you're not challenging for anything else like us. But there is some huge games today in the Championship. Alex, you know, you got Fulham away to Stoke. Fulham have been on unbelievable
Yeah,
form.
they're on
at the
some
minute.
basketball team, aren't
They're
they?
scoring like 6 and 7 every week. Do you know what I mean? Philadelphia Sixers. Philadelphia 76ers. You know, they're scoring goals for fun, Fulham. Mitrovic on fire. You've got Middlesbrough as well coming up that's on Monday night, to be fair, but Bournemouth as well chasing the promotion push at home to
course,
Hull
yeah.
City. Sheffield United against Luton. There's some good games, lots of games today. West Brom at home to Peterborough. There's pretty much a full fixture list in the Championship today. It's Saturday at 3 o'clock, so we'll bring you all the updates as those go in.
As they go in, Lewis, let's talk about the Championship. Fulham, Bournemouth, Blackburn and QPR make up the top 4. Obviously, 2 teams go through in the playoffs there too. But when you look at some of the names in this division, Lewis, I mean, I'll mention them now. Fulham, Bournemouth, Blackburn, QPR. You've got West Brom, Middlesbrough. You could chuck Stoke in there. You've obviously got Birmingham there with Joe Bellingham, who's coming through. Derby as well.
Jude.
Job, that's his brother, his young brother.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's coming through.
Jude plays now.
With the kind of magnitude of some of these names in the Championship, how many, or I mean, who are you expecting to come up this season?
Fulham are usual because they always seem to
Yo-yo
just
team.
drop
Every
down
year,
and
innit?
back
Every
up.
year,
I'm
guaranteed.
hoping QPR as well because I think that'd be the first Premier League season where you have all 4 West London clubs
That's
in
true.
there. And we could actually have some semi-decent
Brentford,
derbies. for
QPR,
once.
Chelsea, Fulham.
Yeah, because I can't like Brentford's another one where the ground's just too tiny.
Do you think
no
it is,
allocation
mate? No
can't be
allocation,
exactly.
yeah.
Do you think you can fill Stamford Bridge for it once? Yeah.
Not an Arsenal fan talking about filling their ground. Come on, man. What are we doing?
Don't chat to me about Man City fans in that conversation either. But there's some big teams in that league.
Yeah. Fulham, West Brom, I expected them to come down and to handle it really well, and they already have. QPR was a very big surprise for me because they always seem to stick around lower mid-table. They never really seem to contend for the playoffs, and they're doing really well for themselves this season. They're the ones that I personally want to go up, only because It's the only West London club where it feels like a proper rivalry. Fulham ain't serious, Brentford ain't serious, so I'm hoping QPR go up.
Right, well, obviously you guys are getting involved in the comments. Big up to you for that. Classy lineups here. Thank you very much for your comments, getting involved there. Let's talk about the games that are kicking off at 3 o'clock in the Premier League, though, because, again, some big ones there. Manchester United, West Ham. Let's start there. Again, you mentioned earlier that West Ham could cause an upset here. It isn't out of the question for them to maybe get a result here, because United at home, they've just not been with it, have they?
No, they haven't been with it home or away, for me, to be honest. I mean, Newcastle played them a few weeks ago. We're winning 1-0 for the majority of the game, conceded a late Cavani equaliser. We should have been 2-3-4 in that game. Man United just haven't been winning. I haven't seen any, Saeed with a Ralph Rangnick baby. I haven't seen none of that. Where's Ralph baby been? Because I haven't seen any impact whatsoever from Rangnick compared to Ollie.
Yeah.
There's been no change for me. Really surprised.
Not tangible.
Really surprised at what we've seen there, the results-wise and performance-wise. Man United are in the mud for me, big time. And obviously they're starting the likes of Alonga, who scored against Brentford the other night. But you've seen Sancho on the bench, not even on the bench, and other players can't get in the team. Do you know what I mean? All this money that they've spent, and they're still crying out for more, and they're not producing results.
No, they're not. And there was a bit of a boiling point after the last game, Lewis, when Ronaldo came off. Rangnick replied to it by saying the job of a football manager is to help the team win the game. And it was clear from our experience at Villa Park that this time we have things to do better. He was also asking me, talking about Ronaldo, why didn't you take off one of the younger players? I mean, if Cristiano Ronaldo at 37 is first of all throwing a strop for coming off, why is he then, trying to blame the younger players for not coming off?
It feels like Ronaldo, doesn't it, though? Because Ronaldo's always self-obsessed with himself, and not saying over the team, but more he has to be the person to help the team. It always has to be more centered around Ronaldo. So if he's getting taken off, especially with how big his name is in terms of being one of the best football players of all time, he's going to feel a little bit insulted by it, but same way, it's like, just grow up a little bit. It's not that.
It just sums up Ronaldo as a man, because you've seen them blow a 2-0 lead against Aston Villa. So Ralph's obviously thinking, right, we're 2-0 up against Brentford, let's just see this game out, let's get the 3 points. Ronaldo's always thinking about himself.
Let's be honest, no one should be surprised at what happened the other day with Ronaldo. The man, as you said, quite rightly, Lewis, he's totally self-obsessed. I remember chatting to Flex and 1 or 2 other Man United fans before they signed Ronaldo, when they was all hooping and hollering, I said, listen, do you really think that's going to work, though? And they jumped down my throat, greatest player of all time. I said, yeah, he's a great player. No one's disputing that. But do you think what he has to offer at this stage in his career is what United need? Is he the type of signing that you need? Okay, the board will like it. They'll sell millions of shirts and the interest around him, which is good also for the Premier League. But I also suspected that he would be have a negative effect in the dressing room. We're seeing it.
Totally disrupted the balance of the team for me. I think if you had a front three of just Greenwood, Rashford, Sancho, I think that would work.
I'd just like to say as well, it's ironic that a few days before he got taken off in that game, he gave an interview, didn't he, where he was talking all this stuff about how important the team is and standards and all that. And then there you go, he gets taken off, he starts throwing a straw.
A quick word on West Ham before we make our predictions. We're not actually revealing the predictions until the end of the show because we want to see how close we all were. But Lewis, a quick question for you on West Ham. Declan Rice having another good season. Do you think this is his last season as a West Ham player, maybe? I mean, you guys have been doing all the flirting online. He was round at John Terry's house last summer.
Yeah, just
all that stuff.
Bin with all of that, personally, I despise it. But no, I don't think he goes. West Ham are putting some stupid money on him, like £100 million. No.
Is he worth it?
No chance. He's a great DM. Like, this isn't even to slander him or anything like that. £100 million, though. Are you crazy? Nowhere near that. Nowhere near. He's like 60 million.
I was going to say about 50, 60.
Yeah, 50, 60 is a fair amount for him. 100 million, that's because of how important he is to West Ham, and I understand that. But that, and also because of the amount of years left on his contract and they could afford to put him up there, it's not going anywhere. No one's going to be stupid enough to put that money up for him. No chance.
Well, there you go. Lewis has said it. He's not worth 100 million. Let's actually go to Nicky from West Ham Fan TV for his game day preview show. This is what he thinks about the West Ham Manchester United game at Old Trafford today.
I fancy us. I do. I fancy
for the win?
Us. Yeah, I fancy us. I think it's going to be a good one, this one. look, Rangnick he ain't exactly pulled up any trees since he come here, and before last night's win, he was probably under more pressure than the buttons on my coat jacket, bro. But yeah, I don't know. I
don't think you believe that, Nick. I don't think you really believe in that win.
I'm just.
I think because you're here, and you feel like you've basically on a match day.
Listen. I don't
think you believe you're going to win Old Trafford. Do you believe
it?
It?
Yeah, I believe we can. Will we?
You definitely can.
I don't know, but I believe. No, I'm gonna back us. I fancy
Nicky there going for a 1-0 away win for West Ham at Manchester United today. Let's all get our whiteboards up. Again, we're not showing you anything at this stage. All we're doing is our own predictions. I've already done mine, and then again at the end of the show we reveal them. So if you have done them already, make sure they're nice and hidden.
I'm ready.
Perfect.
And we will show them at the end.
Leeds, Newcastle, United, West Ham,
and Brentford Wolves.
Mate.
So make sure you get that in as well. And again, like I said, at the end of the show, we'll be coming back to our predictions to see who is in the know, to see who knows the most about football. Obviously, Newcastle need to win this game, Matty, at Leeds. It's always a tough place to go to, as we said. We're 7 minutes away from kick-off now. What's the score going to be in terms of where's this game going to be won? Let's not give your score prediction away because again we're revealing that at the end. But where's this game won and lost today?
Both teams can't defend. Both teams can't defend. Leeds looked very dangerous against West Ham, which worries me a lot because Newcastle have been trying all week to bring in a centre back. They've been pursuing Diego Carlos from Sevilla, Sven Botman from Lille, with no real conviction because everyone's been having one for the Newcastle tax. Newcastle tax is a real thing now. Transfer window because Sevilla wanted 30 million. We offered them 30 million. Matter of fact, we want 40 million now. That's the way it's going to go in every transfer window for every Newcastle target now. Everybody wants to squeeze that little bit more because we've got that title of the richest football club in the world. That's the way it's going to be now. We need to get used to that. We need to prepare
Money
yourself
club,
for that.
Can't be asked.
Yeah, mate, you would have seen it yourself, Man City have seen it now. Newcastle United have seen it. The Newcastle tax is real. We've been trying so hard to strengthen the defence. It's not going to happen now. We're going to have to wait 2 weeks until the next game. Try and get 2-3 more bodies over the line before the window closes. So back to the game. Both teams can't defend. Both teams are a threat going forward. Who can score the most goals today? Honestly, without giving away the scoreline of what I've predicted, I really could see a 3-2, a 4-3 along those lines today.
A mini classic. Big up to you guys getting involved in the comments. We've got a super chat from Maka Maurice, who's a Man United fan, and he says, if it wasn't for Ronaldo, we would be bottom a half and out of the Champions League. So there is that argument to say, yes, he's maybe a negative impact on his own team, but he does come up with the clutch moments.
Listen, I just want to qualify by saying Ronaldo is a great player. I love watching him. What I'm saying is that the man, as Lewis quite rightly said, is self-obsessed. He's all for himself. It's all about the brand. So a guy like that, if things are going well, if he's playing well, he'll be fine. But if he's not playing well or whatever, expect problems. And I was not in the slightest surprise at his reaction the other night. He's always been like that.
Yeah, he's always been like that, hasn't he? Not what you want to see as a Manchester United fan. Big up to Richard Boyd, says big up to Matty from the Magpie channel.
Yes, lad.
Peter Kip says AGT hosting well, thank you very much. Agent E saying the Don expanding his empire. Or you've got, well, you're his brother, but you've got, some people that are definitely part of the team.
I'm not part of the empire.
A question from Ali A. Big up to you, mate. I know he's a big fan of the COP TV, just as we're 5 minutes away from kickoff. Would you take Nat Phillips at Liverpool? At Newcastle.
I'd take bloody Kevin Phillips. Do you know what I mean? I'd take anybody at the minute. Do you know what I mean? It's that peak at the minute. I would take Nat Phillips. I would. I think... what's Liverpool's stance on him though? Would they sell him? Would they loan him?
So it's 15 mil. They're not going to take anything less than that. And you have to remember, this is the guy who may not have the most experience ever, but came into that Liverpool team halfway through last season, played pretty much every game, kept a clean sheet at home to Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Sounds good to me.
Got us in the Champions League, if you like, by playing well towards the end of the season.
I mean, it's an embarrassment, our defence at the minute. We haven't signed a defender in 4 years.
4 years?
4 years since we've signed...
Apart from Trippier?
Yeah, we're centre-back I'm talking about here, sorry. So centre-back, we haven't signed one in 4 years. The last one was Federico Fernandez on a free from Swansea,
which
summed up the previous regime. We haven't signed a solid defender for years. It's an area that massively needs strengthened. The team that played against Watford last weekend, more than half of those played in the Championship 5 years ago. There's so much work that needs to be done. There's so much rebuilding that needs to be done. But
maybe Joe Linton can get in defence as well.
He'll be a wing back next season.
I tell you what, he's been unbelievable since he's been dropped.
I'll tell you what, with Newcastle's defence, I must say I'm slightly more than slightly disappointed in Lascelles.
Oh, he's awful.
Because when he was at Forest, he looked like a good player, didn't he?
When he first came to us.
And when he first, I was going to say, when he first came to Newcastle, he looked like...
He got given the captain's armband within
I remember people talking about him for England and stuff like that. 2018
World Cup, they were pushing for him to go to Russia. But
so what's happened? Is it a confidence thing? Or?
I think it's. I think he's hit his level. I think without Rafa Benitez, who was coaching him well, now he's been under the awful management of Steve Bruce for years. He's had no coaching, he's had loads of days off, and he's not captain material. He's really not. I mean, he's getting the game now because he's a good cheerleader. Do you know what I mean? He's in the dressing room just to big everyone up. He's not good enough. He's not Premier League quality. He really isn't.
Another question for you, Matty, from Bailey. How close is Diego Carlos to joining Newcastle, Matty?
Very close, Bailey. Very close, because he has got a decision to make next week. So Sevilla are willing to sell Diego Carlos after this weekend. There is a La Liga winter break after this game, so Sevilla want to keep him for this weekend's game, and then they are willing to cash in on Diego Carlos. Carlos wants to move. He's been talking to Joe Linton, his Brazilian counterpart. He wants to move. Yeah, he's going to be tripling his salary.
Who wouldn't want to move?
Tripling his salary. He's there for the project. He loves Bridges and Brown Ale. Right? He doesn't care about the money, mate. Right? Loves Newcastle Brown Ale, but he's dead up for the move. However, there is Tottenham now as well. Tottenham have apparently
entered the race.
Tottenham have apparently bidded for Diego Carlos, so a decision will be made on Diego Carlos' future next week.
That just got me thinking, actually. If you're a young player, going to Newcastle must be a tremendous prospect. Think about it. The money you're going to get and the nightlife.
Distractions. Jesse Lingard's going to be out every night, isn't he? You know what I mean?
If he sticks around or if he goes to Newcastle.
Yeah.
And if that story that you told me about Cisse before we started on air is true, then you can see why they're going to go there, don't you?
There must be better reasons than a shisha bar. If he was a
no, not even talking about the shisha bar.
He's talking about the
other kind of bars up there. Right. A quick question here for Lewis from Wheat Boy, who says, who's getting the top four, lads? We'll go to you, Lewis, to start with, just before the 3 o'clock kickoffs do commence.
Still think it's going to be the same top three: City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Fourth place, I'm really not sure
Up
about.
for grabs, isn't it?
Like, I think right now the favourites look like it's Arsenal. I think United don't look consistent at all. Spurs, they're kind of the same where... Well, Spurs and Arsenal are the same where they both beat the teams that they should beat. But I think Arsenal have just performed better against the teams that they should be losing to, even in spite of maybe they do end up losing in itself, like the Man City game. But they played them off the park regardless, so they could show they could keep up with them. Spurs, I don't think are there yet. West Ham, I think when you get to Europa League football towards the running of the season, if they're still there, I think they're going to have to pick or choose between one or the other. So I think it could be Arsenal's year, personally.
Well, that's what you want to hear, Laurie, isn't it?
That is what I want to hear.
Is now Arsenal's best hope for this season, surely?
Is. Listen, I'd love to be able to sit here now and say that I think we're going to get the top four, but I think it's going to be a struggle.
Be tough, mate.
I think, we spoke earlier about Man United. Jordan Jarrett Bryan, shout out to him. He said something on a show I do a couple of weeks ago. He said that United are not a very good team, but given the quality that they've got, they'll probably score their way to a top four finish. And you know what? That makes a lot of sense to me. Also, if you look at Tottenham, they're on a bit of an upsurge and they do have a very good manager, which we don't. It's the truth.
New deal, though.
And then you've got West Ham, who, are in there. So it's going to be very difficult. I'd like to be able to say Arsenal, but I think we might just fall short.
We'll see how that one finishes. Definitely a big race to the top four. Right, the 3 o'clock games, guys, have kicked off. We are looking at the scores now. It's 0-0 as you'd expect in all of these games. It's interesting to see who scores first. But Brentford versus Wolves underway in West London. Leeds versus Newcastle underway in Leeds, of course. And the game in Manchester at Old Trafford has now kicked off against West Ham. So obviously stay with us as the games progress. We will be reacting to all the goals and, of course, reacting to your comments in the chat as well.
Question for you.
Sure.
Which is the biggest game of the day? If you was given a ticket for any one of those 3 games, which one would you go to?
as a Liverpool fan, I don't think I could accept a ticket to watch Manchester United versus West Ham, unless it was in the away
Probably
end.
be the worst football game of the lot, to be honest.
Potentially.
Yes,
do you know what? I think
Yeah.
Brentford Wolves is going to be a good game.
No.
But I'm going to have to give it to Newcastle Leeds or
Yeah,
Leeds
same.
Newcastle. I do think that is a game that's got goals written and mistakes written all over it.
I mean, this game could be like an NBA fixture. This could be LA Lakers versus Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Today, do you know what I mean? It's going to be end to end. No one can defend.
But no disrespect, mate. Do you really think Newcastle got a lot of goals in them at the moment?
I think we've got a bit of magic in St Maximin is always there. We're willing to see if Chris Wood can pop up with a goal or two, if we can get the service towards him. Obviously, he had a brilliant time at Ellen Road when he played for Leeds. He scored 44 goals and 80 odd appearances there. He was on fire for them. But I mean, Joe Willock back in the team today. Can he try and make a burst into the box and get on the end of something? It all depends. I mean, you fancy yourself against Leeds back line because they are suspect.
Yeah, they are.
But they're not as suspect as ours, so it could be a bit of a sticky one.
I wanted to talk to Lewis about Chelsea's kind of downturn in form. 1 win in 5 in the Premier League. Yeah, we do. Listen, we've got a lot of time, mate, so we're going to speak about Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, everyone. What is it that's happening at Chelsea that maybe isn't quite flowing at the minute?
There's definitely not just one thing. Like, the first domino effect was obviously the Ben Chilwell injury, but it hasn't solely been that. Injuries have torched us, and our depth wasn't really as good as we made it out to be. I think our build-up play has always been poor. Like, in spite of the injuries, our forwards were, for the most part, being carried at the start of the season. Most of our goals were coming from the wings and were coming from centre-backs or Jorginho penalties. And that's been what saved us since then, but our luck was going to run out at a certain point, and it started running out around Christmas. Build-up play has been poor. I think, like, the Lukaku news and all the press conferences, everything is definitely going to be a factor why, and that might have unsettled the dressing room a little bit, but I don't really like this comparison act between Lukaku and the rest of our attackers because I just think they're all dead, to be honest. All of them have been poor this season.
Wow.
This season they've all been poor. I can't sit here and credit any of them. Even Mason,
though, because the majority of their goals have been from defenders and midfielders, which is good.
It is
when you
good,
pay
but it's
100
like
when there's
million
not contributions
for a
from the front
striker.
line.
I like
though.
the players that are meant to be doing it to contribute a little bit consistently.
Bro,
They don't do it.
But I would say I do have a little bit of empathy for Lukaku. I mean, the guy's making the runs and he's not getting the service.
I agree with him on
So
that.
can
like,
you really blame Lukaku for that?
No, I don't have any issues with him complaining about the system. I've always said that was the one part of the interview that I didn't have any problems with. He was
No,
being
but you just said
completely
he's
honest.
dead.
No, my problem is he's unsettled the dressing room, and I also think he's lied to the fans as well. Like he's come here and said,
Well, he
I
hasn't
want-
lied. He said he wants to go to Milan.
No,
He's
but-
missing the Milan lifestyle.
No, but when he first
mainstream.
joined us, though, he said he wanted to retire at Chelsea. Then said he wanted to join into Milan. He said, "I'm a multi-dimensional striker that could fit his style of play very quickly." We're here 5 months into it. He's still struggling. Like, it's just a false image, to be honest. This is genuinely the same Lukaku from United with just a little bit less weight.
Right, we will speak about Chelsea a bit more. Big up to Vishnu with the super chat. Says, hello AGT, massive fan. Can I get a fan cam in future? Well, if you find me outside Anfield on the COP TV, then I certainly can. No worries at all. Right, let's go to the Championship. There's been an electric start at the Britannia. I think it's still called the Britannia. Stoke versus Fulham. Matty, what's happened?
Unbelievable start. 2 goals
Two
in
goals.
2 minutes. Who from? Both sides.
Both sides.
Stoke, the home side, took an early lead, and then Carvalho has just equalised for Fulham. 2 goals in 2 minutes there. Unbelievable
I
start.
think that's Bradley Wright Phillips' brother or nephew. I think it's Sean Wright Phillips' son, DiMaggio Wright
Wright
Phillips.
Phillips.
Yeah, that's
has
true.
in
scored
60
for
minutes.
Stoke, who, let's not forget, have got quite a star-studded team. If you look at their team, they've got Ian Wright's grandson.
Star-studded
They've
family.
got Paul
gonna say that.
Paul Ince's son, who's playing, Tom Ince, and they've got a couple others in there.
Never
Family
mind.
Fortunes FC. Family Fortunes
Basically,
FC.
yeah.
like
a
it.
big start there in the Championship game.
Big up Adebayo
Stoke versus Fulham.
Akinfenwa.
Oh, big up
Exactly,
Akinfenwa
still
as
playing
well.
for-
1-0 Wickham.
Big up to the big man, beast mode, 1-0 up at Morecambe, 2 minutes in. Reading have also scored at home to Huddersfield. Lucas João in 5 minutes. So an energetic start to the Championship. Still no goals in the Premier League. Brentford, Wolves, Leeds, Newcastle, Man United and West Ham all kicked off. Let's talk about Arsenal now.
Let's talk about
a bad result for you guys on Thursday night. I was watching it with you, mate. I felt for you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Didn't look like it on the night.
Definitely wasn't. I was very, very happy. I can't lie. I was rubbing it in. Let's talk about the disciplinary problem, because since Arteta's come into the club, 14 red cards, Laurie. And listen, I'm not going to lie, maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 Granit Xhaka. Why is it that Arsenal are getting so many red cards at the minute?
That's a good question. I mean, it's interesting that you use the word disciplinary, and I guess immediately when you talk about sending offs, you talk about ill discipline. But Arsenal, I would suggest, and I'm pretty sure you guys would agree with me, we're not a malicious team. So the word I would use is lack of nous, lack of game management, lack of
street.
Yeah. It's not so much we're malicious. We go diving into tackles to hurt people. So, for example, you look at the sending off the other day with Thomas Partey, clearly mistimed, but you know what I mean, ill-judged. He didn't need to do that, you know what I mean? And Xhaka, well, he's legendary
Xhaka
for getting sent off.
He's had 5 yellow cards for Arsenal. I said 2 or 3, maybe that was a bit soft on him. He's had 5. He has come out after, Laurie, I don't know if you're going to be happy with this.
No, I'm not.
And he said, this is who I am. I can't change myself from today to tomorrow, he tells Sky Sports in an interview. What do you react to by that? Because
to me, that is very poor from him there, because that shows that he's not learning his lesson. That shows he's going to do it again. And I would say as well that with Granit Xhaka, I'm one of the few Arsenal fans, certainly around AFTV, that have stuck my neck on the block for this guy. I've actually defended him, much to the chagrin of other Arsenal fans who have a go at me for sticking up for him. But I'm disappointed in that statement, because he's one of the most, if not the most senior player at the club. He's a Swiss international and he's a good player. And he keeps on doing this type of thing, and not just getting sent off, giving away penalties. I mean, Lewis spoke earlier about when we was playing City off the park, which we were for the first half, and then in the second half, 5-6 minutes into the second half, with the game in control, seemingly, Xhaka gives away a penalty. Needless thing to do. You're grabbing a man's shirt in the box. You're basically saying to the guy, go down and you'll get a penalty. And from that moment on, we imploded and lost the game.
Another goal in the Championship, Matty. Who's it gone for?
QPR have taken the lead at Coventry 1-0 thanks to Andre Gray. Andre Gray,
a former Premier League player.
Journeyman.
Dropped down a league, scores away for QPR, who are having a great season. Like Lewis mentioned, could get back up into the Premier League. Lewis, talk to us about this issue at Arsenal, because they've lost against Nottingham Forest last week. They've lost against Liverpool this week. There may be 2
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
2 cups in 2 weeks.
Look at
Two
this.
cups in
you
2
say
weeks.
that. I'm being a
He's
presenter.
enjoying
Laurie.
it.
There's a difference. 2 exits to 2 different competitions in 2 weeks. I mean, there were a lot of positive words for Arteta up until that point with the recent upturn, but now it seems a little bit negative again.
It's like just being hit back to reality, but other than the Forest result, I've been saying Arsenal have been beating who they're meant to beat, and they've been losing to who they're meant to lose. I just think the Nottingham Forest game was a poor performance from Arsenal, but also works to their benefit. You got nothing to focus on now except for top 4, and I've already said you lot having European football is going to be a big reason for why you're going to be in this top 4 race.
Should be.
We've seen it with Chelsea. When we finished 10th, we won the Premier League off the back of having 1 game a week. We were able to have so much rest, and it made our tempo utterly ridiculous. Teams couldn't handle us. So I think the same thing goes to Arsenal, but other than the Forest result, I don't think anything's too surprising. Like, the games they've lost, I've expected them to lose, and other than that, like, they're not having any shock defeats or anything. I just think it's like they're not a team that's going to be at the level of a Liverpool, of a Manchester City, or of a Chelsea, but they're doing much better than they've done over the last 3 or 4 years. There is some development and progress there.
Is there?
Yeah. One of the big
definitely
questions,
looks like it from you guys.
Okay.
Well, leading off that question or the statement there from Lewis, there has been rumours that Arteta is due for a new contract. Now, does he deserve this? Is it too soon to be giving out a contract to Arteta, especially when he's well within his contract already?
Hell to the no. Listen, and that's not a direct diss at Arteta. I woke up this morning to that news, and I have to say I was disappointed, bro. Like, we've just been knocked out of the cup against Liverpool, a game that I thought we were favourites for. We should have won. We underperformed. Liverpool were the better side on the day and deserved to win. We're going for top 4. It is possible, but I have to say that off the back of 2 8th-place finishes and a season that is still very much so-so, how can you offer the man a contract halfway through the season? Surely, if we get to the end of the season and he qualifies for Europe, be that Europa League, some people would say he needs to get a Champions League spot, then fine. But if you're an ambitious club, man, I'm not sure if that's the right way to go. Let the man prove himself, because let's be honest, those 2 8th-place finishes have been disappointing. We've underachieved. And even this season, yes, there's been some green shoots, but we're nowhere near there yet, as you saw the other night.
Yeah,
so
still some way
I'm
off.
not in favour of that at all.
Let us know in the comments, do you think that Mikel Arteta deserves another Arsenal contract? Me personally, I think it's a little bit premature.
Very premature.
I think talks like this can distract really from the business which needs to be done on the pitch the most. So bringing up these kind of chats now, is it a move by Arsenal? Is it a move by the press? What is it, Matty, for you that's making this conversation pop up?
I'm very surprised that he's been offered an extension because, like Laurie says, without securing top 4, without any success this season, where does that warranted? Where does that come into play? Because we were discussing off air, I probably wouldn't have Arteta at Newcastle, and I think that speaks volumes.
Wow, that does speak volumes.
For a huge club like Arsenal, who should be competing for trophies, competing in Europe, whereas Newcastle, who are at this moment, yes, might have finances behind it, but at the minute we're struggling. And if I wouldn't have Arteta, and I would take the majority of managers, but I wouldn't take Mikel Arteta because unproven for me. Yes, he's got the FA Cup in the bag, but I'm not overly impressed.
Listen, down the road they've appointed Antonio Conte. That's a big appointment.
It is.
Arteta, listen, I'm not dissing the man, but he's yet to fulfil that so-called promise that the board were espousing. 2 8th-place finishes, like I said, trophyless for a couple of seasons now. And we're going to be trophyless this season as well. So really and truly, he has to get European football. Now, there's a debate at Arsenal. Some fans are saying they will take a top 6 finish, Europa League. Other fans are saying he has to get top 4. I must say, I'm leaning towards top 4 now that we're out of the trophy race again. But to offer him a contract halfway through the season, if that is the case, I mean, there's some speculation as to whether it's true or not. I just think it speaks to a lack of ambition.
Well, talking about ambition, Newcastle obviously put a lot of money into this transfer window and the next few windows, I'm sure. You mentioned earlier that you were looking at Stevie G winning today at Everton. You wanted Stevie G because I think you told me he was interviewed for the role, right?
He was interviewed for the role.
Really?
But they chose Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe apparently really impressed with his presentations, his ideas for the club. He's a good teacher by the looks of it. He had a good PowerPoint. Did Eddie Howe about his philosophy and everything and how he's going to coach a side. I mean,
Eddie Howe must be like that guy in the nightclub, isn't he? He's not the best looking, but he's got the slickest chat.
He's got the
so
chat.
he walks out at the end of the
Like
night
Brendan
with that
Rodgers.
girl.
Hitch. Will Smith, Hitch.
Basically.
You know what I mean?
Just got the gift of the gab.
Yeah, gift of the gab, Eddie Howe. I mean, look at Steven Gerrard though. If Steven Gerrard had been appointed Newcastle United manager, we would have now had Philip Coutinho and Lucas Digne.
Yeah,
both were approached and offered by Newcastle. Both turned us down and favoured a move to Villa. No disrespect to Villa, they are a huge club, big club, historic club. But with the opportunities that Newcastle have with their wealth for the future, you'd pick one of it. Which obviously the situation being in the bottom 3 doesn't help. But if you had Gerrard there, the player pull and the power that he has is huge. And not just that. Look at the performances on the pitch. Look at the results. It's not just his playing career that's speaking for itself now. It's also his managerial career.
I must say, with Gerrard, you look at him and he does have that air of authority that you want to see in a manager. He has that presence, doesn't he? And of course, he's a Hall of Famer in terms of his football career. So if you're a young guy and, you know what I mean, and you get tapped up by Villa and you meet with Gerrard you're looking at him.
You're going to be
it's
impressed,
gonna,
aren't
you will.
Right, let's talk about how Newcastle are getting on at Leeds. But first of all, let's show some footage of Ty in the trivia top squad quiz between myself and Ty, which of course will be followed by a look at AFCON. Let's see how that's gone. But first of all, Ty versus me in the quiz. Let's see who won that one.
Not this week though.
Yeah, whatever, mate. Whatever. Cheer up.
Do you know how sweet this cake tastes?
So, but what do you want me to do? I've got to go.
So good.
I'm ready late. What do you want me to laugh for? What should I laugh? And don't chuck it, Alex, because if you get beaten, you be gutted as well. So don't chuck it.
Yeah, but I don't have to get to Bournemouth by 7. Oh my god.
Anyway.
Thank you very much. This is unbelievable. Come on, Ty, man. We've all had fun.
Why are you trying to chuck it? No, whatever, man.
That is a definition of a sore loser.
You can say
congratulations,
Thank you, Robbie. Come on, Ty. I shook your hand like a...
Whatever, man.
I shook your hand.
Whatever, no, whatever.
What do you mean, whatever? I shook your hand.
I mean, whatever.
Bro, come on, man. That's my jacket. You're not taking my jacket, bro. Ty, are you really going to leave it like this? Ty, I shook your hand. Wow, Robbie, did you see that? Yeah.
Great tackle. Good boy.
Here we go.
Bassam.
This is like a Ghana.
Go! Go! This is a 2. Come on, this is a 2-1. He scored!
I'm back at ready.
Are you serious?
I'm back at ready. What the hell are you doing?
Would you believe it? 1-0 to the Gunners. Would you believe it?
Yes. What are you doing, man? Wow.
1-0 to the Comoros. This is
1 o'clock. No, he couldn't do anything, man. That was his fault. And Matty, I don't know what the hell he was doing. What was he rushing for?
Why is he rushing up?
Yeah, what was he doing? That was a real boss.
1-0 to the Comoros.
And he's already gone up.
How they caught their 2?
And we got caught.
2-on-1. It's a great finish.
Well, anyway, game is
If
on.
that happens, we deserve to go out.
What's going on with your defence?
Yeah,
Come on.
I don't know how
The whole time we've been looking at Comoros and their defence. They haven't been able to defend. And look at this.
Yeah, it was great beating Ty in the quiz. I can't lie, guys. He definitely left a sore loser.
That's surprising.
But apparently I'm back on next week. I won't reveal the guest because that would be unfair. But it's been brilliant, the quiz so far. And of course, the AFCON coverage on this channel. A round of applause for that, actually, because I don't see I don't see too many other channels covering it like DR Sports. So make sure that you're locked in for the latter stages of AFCON on DR Sports. Let's talk about Liverpool, my team. Again, just beating you on Thursday. We're in the final now against you guys. Lewis, I'm sure we'll be doing some content before the final. And I'll come to you, actually, as a Chelsea fan. Klopp has already come out and said that Kelleher will start in the final, which I think is quite a nice thing to do because he's played all the way through this competition, apart from the first leg where Alisson started in goal. It was his first ever Carabao Cup performance. But do you like that, keeping in the keeper all the way to the final?
I understand it, but like the same way, I think it also cost us the FA Cup final, so I'm not too sure about it.
Is that when Willie played in goal?
No. Kepa with the Tielemans long shot. I still say Edouard Mendy could have saved, but it is what it is. Kepa's likely going to start the cup final, and he's looked a lot more confident since then as well, so I'd be more willing to back it up. But it's at your own risk. I think at finals you also play your best team, so if you do it and it doesn't work, the question is going to be on you, but I understand it in terms of keeping the dressing room happy and keeping all of your players happy, that you do have to accommodate them at points like that. So it's all at the discretion of the manager, really.
Yeah, I'm all for Kelleher making his name in this competition. Let's cast our minds back to 2005. Liverpool played Chelsea in the League Cup final. Gerrard scored an own goal around the time that he was getting rumoured to go to Chelsea. It was a horrible game to watch. Mourinho was giving this to the Liverpool fans, which made us hate him.
Back at that,
I mean, that was a 3-2 win for you. Do you see this being an easy game, or do you see this being a win?
Nah, this is definitely not going to be easy. Chelsea, but I like that's Chelsea-Liverpool because we actually need to find out who the better team is out of the two. Both times we played, it's been level. There's been times where you dominate. I think, to be honest, you dominated both of the games, but we were lucky to get a draw in those matches. But it'll be good to see who wins the best out of 3 series, isn't it? That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, what do you think about that game? Because obviously Arsenal nowhere to be seen.
Look, here we go. Look, yeah.
But Liverpool and Chelsea
nowhere
in the final.
to be seen, you know.
It's the
bro.
first final of the
Robbie,
season.
get this man out.
Well, no, but give me your honest thoughts. I mean, how do you think that game's going to go? And who do you want to win?
Listen, I don't have no horse in the race. I could argue and say that because Liverpool beat us, it would be better for us if Liverpool go on and win it, because then we can say we lost to them.
Yeah, beat by the best.
Yeah, but I've really got no horse in the race. If you're asking me for a prediction, I would lean towards Liverpool, though. I do think they're possibly a better rounded side than Chelsea at this moment in time. Then Tuchel's not been able to get Lukaku and the strikers firing. And Liverpool, let's be honest, man, they're free scoring. When you get Salah back, and Mane. Salah, who incidentally I believe is the best player in the world. I think it's criminal that he didn't get the Ballon d'Or. No, but listen, you know what it is, right? I'm obviously a lot older than you guys. And one of the advantages of being older, I think, is that you can speak your mind more. I'm not just speaking to try and impress Arsenal fans. I'm just going to speak from the heart. Yeah, so I say that Liverpool are the more better rounded side. And I think they'll win. Yes.
Well, listen.
Although it's not a given. It's not a given.
Of course, it's not a given. It's a final. Anything could happen. But obviously, I'm going for a Liverpool win. Big up to Naralto2710 who goes, AGT is a wind-up merchant. Makes them sly, indirect digs, lol. Well, listen, that's what you've got to do. Let's get back into the Premier League action because it looks like it's an exciting one down at Ellen Road. 20 minutes in now. Who's looking the better team there, Matty?
Newcastle, surprisingly, had a very good start within 10 minutes. Had a John Joe Shelby put one over the bar, a couple of corners. But the biggest chance of the game has felt at Dan James, who again hasn't really kicked on since a big money move from Manchester United. He had a close effort saved by Martin Dubravka. Leeds have been all over Newcastle. St. Maximin gets into the box here though for Newcastle and tries to make something happen. Tackled and it's out for a throw. So it is end-to-end. It is close, but it's still 0-0.
Still 0-0 as well in West London. Brentford versus Wolves, and of course in Manchester it's 0-0 too. The goals have slowed down a little bit in the Championship too.
Apart from at the Medeski.
Apart from there, where there has been another goal, Matty.
Reading 1, Huddersfield 2 until this very second where Reading George Puskas, 22 minutes in, makes it 2-2 already.
No relation to the actual Puskas.
I'm not sure.
The Hungarian player that is now known for having an award named after him.
And the stadium.
That is where he scored the most
Could
beautiful
be,
goal.
although you're assuming that everybody in Hungary has got the name Puskas. But
No, I didn't say that. He is Hungarian, right?
Yeah.
He's a famous player, right?
His is with a K though, his is with a C, so...
Yes, right. Lots of games going on in the Premier League and the I was about to say the Champions League. It's the Championship, not to be confused. Very different.
When you said Champions League, I was thinking...
Exactly. There was
what is
football
that?
on...
Super League.
Well, you wouldn't know. It's been a while. It's been 5 years ago. Let's talk about the game that happened last night, though. Norwich winning last night away. Who were they playing again, Norwich, last night?
Watford.
It was Watford, wasn't it?
Watford.
Poor result for Watford. Ranieri might be in the firing line already. Let us know in the comments if you think he's gone.
I just want to say right there.
What a goal, by the way, from Sargent. Did you see that? I mean, listen, was it on purpose? Did he mean to do it? Who knows? But what a goal it was.
Unbelievable.
It was a very good goal, but let's stop this talk right now. That goal was not as good as Giroud's.
No one said that.
No, but people
or Laurent Robert's, if you're old enough. Laurent Robert's for Newcastle.
Oh,
great
yeah, I remember
YouTube that one once the show's
showed
ended.
it last night.
Yeah,
Did they?
They showed it last night.
I was there.
Yeah, because at the time
the
people were
flesh.
saying, "Oh, I've never seen anything like this." And that. I'm like, Giroud's goal was better than that. Come on. But anyway, going back to Watford, I don't know about you guys. I was saying to Matty before we came on air here that that appointment of Ranieri to Watford, I was genuinely gobsmacked.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
didn't Cisco Munoz get sacked when they were mid-table, like the 7th or something, when the 12th?
He was the first to go. The Pozzo family are very quick to pull the trigger.
Talk about knee-jerk, though. I mean, Ranieri, really?
He's won the Premier
won the
League.
Premier League.
No, but it's a different type of
With
job,
Leicester.
now, isn't it? No, but it's a different type of job.
Well, why sack the manager when you're in
Ranieri
safe
slander,
mid-table? Do you mean they sacked Munoz when they were safe? They were comfortable
But
mid-table?
did you have any confidence that Ranieri's going to keep Watford up.
Well, listen, that's not for me to say. I'm not a Watford
No,
fan. However,
Did we have confidence in him win the league?
Did you?
Exactly.
I thought it was a good appointment. You've
Why?
got someone who has managed at the highest level for many years with Chelsea. Yes, he's had a bit of an indifferent European career when you look at some of the teams he's managed. But look at Leicester. He's managed to galvanise a bunch of players who, let's be honest, probably at that stage, well,
Nobody's.
I won't even say probably, definitely never thought they could win the league, let alone finish.
Yeah,
in the top
that's true.
10.
But at this stage of his managerial career, and given the
was
type
6
of
years
job
ago.
that's required,
That was 5-6 years
they'll
ago.
probably
Now
better
it's
off bringing in Big Sam.
I don't think it would be Matt who took over Watford, to be honest, because the players just aren't good enough. Or the players are championship quality. You look around their team, I can name about 2 of them. Do you know what I mean? When you look at the team sheet, you think, who's that?
Well, Dennis has been a player that
Got
has
sent
been
off,
playing well.
that's
Got
what
sent
Dennis
off
did.
last night. Dennis the Menace.
It's
Yeah,
ironic
sent off.
because I've
Same
got
for Arsenal.
Remember, guys, keep getting your comments in. Remember,
Red
of course,
cards.
to like and subscribe to the DR Sports channel. A good comment coming in here from Time to Wake Up, who says AGT definitely graduated from the Don Robbie school of instigating. I don't know what he's trying to say there. I know that Don Robbie likes to throw in a few little shots as well. Maybe he's referring to that. But still 0-0 in all the Premier League games. There has been another goal, though, in the Football League that we can cut to, which is Ipswich Town scoring at home against Accrington Stanley. But again, quite quiet so far. Let's talk about Burnley, because again, a team that have just cashed in on Chris Wood. He's obviously gone to Newcastle. 20 million.
25
million.
Release clause.
Let's talk about Burnley, though, because a big game against Arsenal tomorrow. They've been in the league for so long now. They've kind of demanded the respect of being the team that's difficult to go to, just about stays up, Lewis. Is Burnley going to get relegated this season, though? Is this the season where maybe their luck runs out?
God willing, but there's always something with Burnley.
Let us know if you want to see Burnley relegated.
I really do. Turf Moor is the worst away day ever.
And you're
the worst
closer
away
to
day
it
ever.
than we are, so just imagine what it's like if you're coming from the south.
Every time I've been Turf Moor, it's hailstone
Good
and
job
it's
on
horrible
taking Chris Wood,
concourse.
by the way.
Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you.
Thank you. Let's hope it works out.
But yeah, like with Burnley, you've taken one of their best investments out of the club, so I think it all depends on their defence. And to be honest, like they could still rack up points in that manner, but I'm not too sure. I think Burnley's time has been knocking for a good few years now. They've just managed to keep themselves above water. I'm not sure if you guys taking Chris Wood off their hands is going to be what submerges them. We all have to wait and see, because like the relegation battle is really starting to heat up now. But I wouldn't blame people for putting money on Burnley, because this does look like it will be their year to drop.
Yeah, Laurie, I mean, we've all had difficult away days at Burnley. Apparently they've got a good pie house. That's one of the best things they can offer. Is this the year where, I mean, listen,
Hope so.
Arsenal are going there tomorrow. You could do it.
No, they're coming to our place.
Oh, they're coming to the Emirates. I do apologise.
Please
but
do a favour. Please, mate. Please don't let me down. Right?
Burnley, I mean, what can their biggest hope be for this season?
to get relegated.
To get relegated.
Back where they belong. Back to the Championship.
Listen, I think, jokes aside now, and I know this is going to upset Burnley fans who are watching this, but if you took a straw poll amongst the fans in the Premier League, I think pretty much most of them would say of the teams that they want to go down, Burnley would be their favourite pick.
Yeah. Managed by Sean Dyche.
Deichmaster.
Obviously managed by Sean Dyche, who's done a great job on a shoestring budget so far.
He has done a good
at
job.
Burnley. Someone in the comments, Don Carlo, says Dyche for Manchester United. Obviously looking for a new manager after Ranić leaves. I mean, we talk about names to replace Ranić. He's obviously got it on an interim basis. People are joking there, I assume, bringing Sean Dyche into the conversation. But who can the next Manchester United manager be? Who will it be? Who's available? Do they go start low and build it up? Do you go with a big name and there's too much pressure? How is it going to work?
Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce. There we go.
Legend.
One of their own.
I'll drink to Steve Bruce.
Manchester United legend. He is one of their own.
One of
He's
their
not
own.
Geordie. He loves Manchester United inside out. But nah, in all seriousness, they're probably going to look towards a Pochettino, aren't they? Or maybe a Diego Simeone, something like that. I think there's a lot of bigger
kind of
problems.
suits their model, doesn't it?
But Pochettino, let's have it right. Not having the easiest ride in France, Lewis.
Jean-Joe Shelby with
I
nearly a
mean,
screamer
what
for Newcastle.
qualifications does Pochettino have to manage a club like Manchester United?
Got a sexy name.
Apart from that,
Exactly, yeah.
what's he got, Lewis?
Style of
I
play.
mean, we say that. What qualifications does Rangnick have? Or what qualifications does Solskjaer have before the job?
True.
Like,
Didn't Rangnick teach Tuchel and
No, well,
Klopp
yeah,
everything
no,
they
we've
know?
clearly
heard
seen
all
that's
of
not the
this.
case.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
if
Maybe
he's taught
Klopp
him, he's
taught
turning
him.
senile and that, isn't it?
Geography teacher.
But let's be real about it. Like the Manchester United job. it's not really got the same appeal that it had 10 or 15 years ago when Sir Alex Ferguson's in charge. It's gone down a little bit. Pochettino, I think, would suit them to an extent, but like they still need to fix up their pressing game first. And while Ronaldo's in the side, they're always going to have question marks of how they're going to be able to do it.
I don't think Ronaldo will be there next season.
No.
I think
Where's
so.
he going to go?
I just think they'll find a way to engineer him out of the club. Because especially if they don't get the top 4, I can't see
He'll
him
slip
sticking
out the
around.
back door, won't he?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only
Listen,
a few clubs he can go
Ronaldo,
to.
it will be beneath him to not be in the Champions League, and his brand.
Yeah,
They'll probably be
see
leaning
on
on
seven.
him, saying, "Look, if you're not in the Champions League."
But this is the thing, like, because I think Manchester United care more about their marketability now, if anything. Would they really get rid of Ronaldo, knowing all the shirt sales they can make out of that?
No,
and everything?
He will though.
Yeah, he will
he'll
probably
force the
demand
move.
a move.
He'll
force
walk.
the move.
He'll walk. He won't be
That
told
would
what
make
to do.
sense.
He'll make the decision.
At this
That's what
stage
he's
in
done.
Ronaldo's career, he wants to be associated with success. It's important for his brand. If they drop out the top 4, I think he'll definitely go.
It's important for his Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, let us know in the comments. Do you think that Ronaldo will be at Manchester United come the time of the start of the next season? Very interesting to see what happens there.
Just briefly, you asked me about the Burnley game. Now, they do say that there are no easy games in the Premier League. Well, tomorrow, Arsenal versus Burnley. We've just come off the back of a very disappointing performance to Liverpool. And I know what I'm going to say. Again, I know what I'm going to say now is slightly disrespectful.
This is where we clip it up.
Exactly. But if you wanted a team to play
It's
after
Burnley.
that, it's got to be Burnley.
Or is it though?
Is it though? Because I mean, they've had quite a bit of time off as well. They've had a lot of games postponed.
They've only played 18 games. I think Arsenal have played 22 games or something this season. They've had a lot of games.
If we can't beat
postponed.
Burnley at home on Sunday, then Arteta. Anyway,
I think you're right. If it was
Didn't
at Turf
Burnley just
Moor,
get a
it's
draw
not
at
like
Stamford Bridge?
Back in November, but we don't need to talk about that. It was like 3 months ago.
Okay, well, maybe I can't.
I mean,
lean
the
on
only
that stat
team,
there.
Newcastle, 20 games into the season, the only team we've beaten, we've had one win all season, is against Burnley.
That's
So
remarkable.
you're probably right there, mate. You probably are right on
listen,
that one.
like I said, this whole thing about there are no easy games in the Premier League, that's a myth. We got Burnley
Well,
tomorrow.
let's see. You can only say if it's an easy game after it's finished.
No, I'm
Can't
saying
say
in
it before.
advance. We've got to beat them. It's a no-brainer.
Big up to Ali A. Question for myself: who do you want as Liverpool's next manager?
Gerrard.
I'm torn. I'm torn on a daily basis between 2 names. Obviously, one of them has to be and always will be Stevie G. I think that's a naturally
Matter of
That's,
almost on the conveyor belt, ready to happen. However,
That's when, not if.
Pep Linders. I'm not going to lie to you. He's been the number 2 behind Klopp all this time in the last kind of 5 to 6 years at Liverpool. He sits in for Klopp when he doesn't do his Carabao Cup press conferences when he's got COVID or
Can't be
did he?
bothered.
False positives.
Yeah, but it's that number 2 syndrome, isn't it? There's lots of guys that look
Steve
great
McLaren,
at number 2.
Huge difference. Steve McLaren,
Carlos
Steve McLaren,
Queiroz.
Newcastle.
Yeah, well, let us know
Mikel
in the comments.
Arteta.
Liverpool fans watching, Mikel Arteta will never be the manager of Liverpool, I can assure you.
No,
of that.
I'm saying the number 2
Second,
syndrome.
number 2
I hear you.
syndrome.
You're right,
Yeah.
putting the cones out and all that stuff.
Big
yeah.
difference. Big difference.
Let us know in the comments, who do you think should be the Liverpool manager next after Klopp? His contract finishes in 2024.
We'd take Klopp, I'll tell you that.
Well, you'd be lucky to have him. Even if he came for an interview, you'd be lucky to get that. He'd probably teach you a few things.
I
if
do
anything.
like Jurgen.
I think Eddie Howe's better interviews than Jurgen Klopp though. So.
All right, well, we don't need to.
Talking
to
of
go
Eddie
into all
Howe,
that.
there's a school of thought also describing Arteta as the Spanish Eddie Howe.
Pretty much. I mean, what's the difference? There isn't one.
If Mikel Arteta was
Would
called Michael Smith, would he have the same? Well, to be
good-
fair,
that's a
he
good
doesn't
point.
have much.
It's a great point.
well,
Michael
yeah.
Anderson.
It's a similar point to Lovren the other day on Twitter, Lewis, who claimed at one point he was the top 5 defenders in the world. He said, "Why has Mo Salah been ejected from the FIFA 11 best team? If he had a European passport, things might be different."
Agreed.
Best 11 for the whole
The
year.
FIFA best 11 team of the year.
For the whole year.
Yeah, I think it was Lewandowski, Mbappe, and Haaland up front, or Messi.
Say that again. Who was it?
This is the thing.
Lewandowski, Mbappe, and Haaland, I think.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I get it, but Salah, you might disagree with me here, but I don't think he was as impressive last season as he has been in previous seasons. I think last season might have been his worst in a Liverpool shirt.
But he still scored 25 goals.
No, I understand that, but I think it's more, you've seen this Mo Salah from this season, who's looking like one of the best in the world. And last season, I think even in spite of the 25 goals, he wasn't having a good conversion rate, and he was missing a lot of chances for you guys. So him missing out, like, you might disagree, there might be a debate for him to be in there, but I think it's a bit understandable. You can have a debate on both sides, in my opinion, for that.
I think he's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, definitely. No one's saying he isn't.
You'd take him back at Chelsea.
In a heartbeat compared to the attackers that we got.
And I know we'd definitely take him.
Of course. Again, don't involve yourself in conversations that you'll never be in. We have got some news for you in a Premier League game. Apparently, there's been an interruption in the Brentford Wolves game because a drone is being flown around the stadium. Obviously, let's not forget, Brentford probably in the path of Heathrow.
Definitely in the path of Heathrow.
The airport, obviously being in West London. So apparently a drone has been flying around the ground. We'll let you know what happens with that as soon as we get more on it. But it's probably a Premier League first, is it? There's been an interruption.
No, I think there was one flown over at Arsenal.
A drone
as well, yeah.
Okay, well there you go. There's been a lot of
it's not
airport
unique.
interruptions
I've heard
as well.
of this before.
So we'll let you know what happens there. CR7 in the swimming pool again, says 100%. Maybe not having the best game for Manchester United at home to West Ham. With Manchester United, you almost feel like, Laurie, if they don't score in the first half at home, it almost becomes, we're just going to have to rely on Ronaldo to get us out of trouble again. Why
it's not just
Ronaldo.
They do have a couple of goal scorers in it. Mason Greenwood can get goals.
He's dried up, hasn't he? Surprisingly.
Yeah. I do think they do have goals in that team, to be honest. They do have the players that can score goals. I don't think they have to rely exclusively on Ronaldo. I think he's probably better out the side for a few games, to be honest. But whether Rangnick will do that, it would be very brave of him if he can do that. But he probably wants to do that, doesn't he?
Well, yeah.
He does. He just doesn't want the repercussions from it.
Exactly.
That's it. And when you leave Ronaldo out, there's a few eyebrows raised. There's been another goal, though, in the Championship at the Britannia. Yeah. Who's it gone to, Matty?
It's gone to Fulham. That man, Carvalho, again takes the lead for Fulham. 2-1 up now. It's Stoke pushing again for the Championship title. Fulham, one of those teams that come down, come back up, come down, come back up. I think them and Norwich need their own league, really, don't they?
Their own little playoff league.
Every year.
Yeah.
Same teams every year.
We're half an hour into I should say 37 minutes into the 3 o'clock kickoffs. How is your team doing at Ellen Road? We came to you maybe about 10 minutes ago. Has there been any chances at all?
I think it's still end-to-end, really. It really is. I mean, John Joe Shelby had a great volley that was saved by Meslier, and then a couple of blocks in there, a couple of corners for each side. Bit of disrupted play with Shaw going down. There's now a Leeds player down on the pitch. Newcastle deciding to play on. I think now they're going to stop play. The referees decided to do that. But as Rafinha is on the deck, but it's still 0-0.
He's a baller, that guy.
He is quality, Rafinha, isn't he? Absolutely class.
Lewis, there's probably 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 big clubs interested in Rafinha. Maybe not this window, but definitely in the summer. Me personally, I've been on record for saying if we could buy 2 players, for me personally, Rafinha and Jude Bellingham, that's who I'd buy for Liverpool. Yeah. Where do you think he's going to end up? With all due respect to Leeds, by the way. With all due respect to Leeds.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure.
I can see him at Bayern.
I think you go abroad.
This is the thing, like, it's very vague where he could go because all we've heard is rumours and we haven't really heard anything that concrete. I think the most concrete one was the Barca ones that just came out of nowhere. I mean, not Barca, Bayern Munich. So I really think it is just speculation at this point. Like, no one can be too sure. I would love him to come to Chelsea. We need anybody creative at this side right now. But it depends, really. They're going to ask for about £70 million from him. So will Chelsea fork out that money? Like, seeing as we just wasted 100 million? I don't know. We'll have to wait.
Of course you would. Why not?
I get the impression you're not very impressed with Lukaku.
We still will have him.
I think it's fairly safe to assume that Rafinha will not be at Leeds next season.
No chance.
He could well go the path of a lot of Brazilian players, which will go to Spain.
Yeah.
One of those clubs. If they got the money, though, innit? That's the thing with the Spanish.
But I just think, get him in Liverpool and you say to him, you see, Mane, you're going to replace him. And I want you to play in any position across the front 3.
Is he not going to be Salah's replacement if he doesn't sign a new deal? Or he can't attempt to stay?
The thing that Klopp has managed to do, everyone thinks that Salah has to play on the right, Mane has to play on the left. Sometimes Firmino drops out to the left and Mane goes through the middle and Salah comes through the middle. They're so interchangeable. All those positions, I really do believe that Klopp moulds players that would probably come to the club and say, yeah, I'm a right winger, Klopp. And he goes, well, not in my team, you're not. You're going to be a right winger, striker, number 10 and a left winger.
A bit like Jota, isn't it?
A bit like Jota. Look at Mane. Can play through the middle. Look at Salah. Has done that as well. A shot there from Joel Linton. Newcastle pressing here with Joel Willock.
Newcastle all over Leeds, yeah.
Yeah,
Joelinton. Was
we
he on
haven't,
target?
we haven't heard that many times in the past.
He's a midfield enforcer now, lads. He's a midfield enforcer, right? Eddie Howe thought outside the box by not letting him go in the box.
Could I ask, what did he see in Joelinton, do you think, that inspired that
Must
move?
be something in training.
Yeah, what do you think it is?
Probably the physicality, to be fair. He's a big lad, you know, he's got a presence about him. And to be fair, he has really transformed him. He has been brilliant. I was talking to Flex after they luckily got a 1-1 draw at St James's Park last month, before Christmas, just after Christmas, sorry. And he said he was the best player on the pitch. You know, Joelinton got man of the match that game by Sky or BT, whoever it was broadcasted on, and by Man United and Newcastle fans. Both of them said Joelinton was outstanding. He's been a man possessed since.
Fair play to Eddie Howe for, you know what I mean, recognising that.
Yeah, turned him into the modern day Pat Vieira.
Chance for
Pat Linton. Pat Linton. Yeah?
Slow down, bro.
Well, time to go, mate. Time to go.
Vol Linton, maybe.
Talking about one of the all-time greats here.
He has been really good though. He has been really good for Newcastle in the last couple of weeks, but again, lack of goal threat is the problem.
Speaking of Patrick Vieira, there was a very interesting debate on AFTV last week when we were down. Patrick Vieira or Steven Gerrard. Make sure you head over to AFTV and watch that after. But right now it is DR Sports and we are approaching half-time in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. It's still 0-0 between Brentford and Wolves, 0-0 at Ellen Road. Maybe making a sub here at Newcastle before half-time. And of course it's still 0-0.
We just jinxed it. I think it's Joelinton.
So far they're making a mockery of your...
Maybe coming off here. And still 0-0 at Old Trafford. Manchester United versus West Ham United. There has been a goal in the Championship. It's a team that I guess is maybe a rival of Matty.
Where are you looking?
Oh, it's not even the Championship. It's League
Put
One.
some respect
That's
on the
poor.
name.
That is poor.
Yeah.
You know what?
I
hold my
We're not
hands
talking
up
about
there.
them.
I assume that
We're not talking about
Sunderland
them.
were in the
Right.
Championship.
No,
they're
well,
not. They're
they're
1-0
not.
up at
To
home
be fair though,
Portsmouth.
right, Alex, you did mention at the start of the show some big names that are in the Championship these days. There is big names in League One as well, though. You know.
There is huge.
You got Sunderland are still a big club. Ipswich Town are in League
Portsmouth
One.
won the FA Cup in
League
2008.
Portsmouth won a trophy more recent than us and a lot of other Premier League teams. Do you know what I mean? So there is a lot of big name teams, a lot of calibre in the lower leagues now, and you're right, Sunderland do take the lead against.
And all it takes, let's be honest, is for a mega rich sugar daddy to rock up at one of those clubs, and you will see that their fortunes.
Well, don't forget, Wolves were stuck in League One, weren't they, a few years ago? Now look at them, top 7, top 8 club every year.
It is true. Lewis, coming to you, talk to me about these scores in the Premier League so far. We've not seen a goal.
Nothing to talk about. We haven't seen a goal.
I should have expected that answer, really, shouldn't I? Poor in terms of output in the Premier League so far, but there has been a substitution at Leeds before half-time for Newcastle. It's in the midfield, Matty.
It's Pat Linton. Patrick Vieira's coming off. Sean Longstaff's coming on. Joelinton is off for Sean Longstaff. Yeah, local lad.
Joelinton?
No, Longstaff.
Maybe Joel.
Yeah, Sean Longstaff, the local lad, is on. Obviously, we rejected a bid from Everton a couple of weeks ago for Sean Longstaff.
Wow.
But that was predominantly down to Rafa Benitez, who did get the best out of Longstaff. Not sure how much interest there'll be in him now since Benitez has left the Toffees. But Longstaff, whose contract is out in the summer, so we'll see how his future lies. But he is on now for Joelinton.
I must say, I'm a little bit surprised that, given that area, like football is such a religion up there, they haven't produced more players coming through their academy and stuff.
Yeah,
is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we complain about. I mean, the last ones were Sean Longstaff, Matty Longstaff, the younger brother of Sean, who scored the winner against Manchester United a couple of years ago. You got Paul Dummett, who's at left back today. I mean, the last real talent we produced from the area was probably Andy Carroll. And that's come back 10 years now.
You cashed in on him. Don't worry
at
about that.
Reading now. Obviously, you lot paid a fortune for him.
Cheers, mate.
Did all right at West Ham without his injuries and stuff, but yeah, it's been a while. But that's because
he always used to do well against us, there, you know.
Because I couldn't handle his physicality.
Didn't he score a winner for Newcastle? At
he did. Last time we won there.
I was at that game.
11?
I was at that game.
2010. Yeah.
Last time we won there.
Stephen Maguire seems to think that Mane is going to Newcastle. I mean, obviously not in the best run of form for Liverpool now. You might as well just throw anyone in there at Newcastle.
I mean, I wouldn't say no. We'll have him in.
As we approach half-time, 45 minutes into the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we will give you, of course, all of the Premier League scores and Championship scores to be read out very shortly when the half-time whistles go. In the Championship, Laurie, there's obviously, we mentioned the teams that are fighting at the top. At the bottom, you've got some big names as well. I mean, Birmingham, way down there. We mentioned them earlier. They're actually 1-0 up at home today. But again, some big teams down at the bottom in that championship.
Absolutely.
Who you would have thought maybe in recent years would have had a chance of being maybe in the playoffs to get in the playoffs.
Well, as I said before, Alex, all it takes is for a mega rich sugar daddy to rock up at one of these clubs and you'll see their fortunes go north. I mean, listen, Harry Redknapp once said, he goes, you can talk tactics all you want, it's about the players. And I do believe in that to a certain degree.
Yeah, well, you've got Barnsley down there losing today. Derby, of course, had a big points deduction, Lewis. There's talks of Wayne Rooney, obviously the manager at Derby, who's, to be fair to him, still doing not too badly considering the mad points deduction they had. They're only 6 points from safety. But there were talks about him going back to Everton. What do you think of that?
I think even he knows it's a bit too early for him. Like, he'd known from ex-Derby manager Frank Lampard, which, to be honest, like I always say, I understand why Lampard took it. I accepted taking it. I also think he did a really good job, even in spite of how it ended. But for Rooney, like, he's only just got into it. I think this is this his first full season coaching and management? Yeah, it's way too early for him to go into the Premier League. He knows that. So I think he's making a smart decision from him, and he knows he's doing a good job at Derby too. So why break something that you know is already working? Worst case scenario, they go down, but he's already knows his job's going to be secure and he's going to have a job to bring them up. But he's got one project in his hand right now. If he can make a success of that project, then he can build himself up to a Premier League club. But you can already see from ex-football players that have gone into management. Is that a pen?
No,
Two absolute managerial no-brainers.
Exactly.
Gerrard will end up managing Liverpool.
Yeah, 100%.
Rooney will end up managing Everton at some point.
And Lampard will be back at the Chelsea squad.
Put your money on it if you are a betting person. Let's have a quick update in the Premier League then. It's half-time at Old Trafford, 0-0. After 45 minutes. Leeds Newcastle is also very shortly going to be over in the first half. Also, Brentford Wolves is only 33 minutes in. They, of course, had that disruption around the ground when a drone was found to be flying near the stadium in West London. So that one is a good few minutes behind, maybe 10 minutes behind, if anything. So expect to be a lot of added time on there at Brentford for half-time. Only 34 minutes into that one there. And the other games are at half-time. Sum up the first half for me then, Matty. Newcastle, a fighting 45 minutes for them at Ellen Road, and they get a corner here.
Well, they've got a corner on the dying stages of the first half, Alex, and they've been all over Leeds. Really, Chris Wood was about to unleash a shot before, but got called up for maybe bouncing off his hand as Newcastle were looking for a penalty. But Newcastle doing well here, to be fair. Probably the better side in this first half. Ryan Fraser, St. Maximin and Chris Wood causing Leeds all sort of problems as the corner's about to come in from Newcastle. There's been, 5 minutes at a time there at Ellen Road in the first half?
I think it is, yeah.
So we'll
Obviously
see.
That Joel Linton
this
injury has maybe added to that.
Do we know what the nature of the injury was?
Oh, it's over everyone.
Not too sure.
Bouncing around the box. It's sitting for Wood.
It's a chance. Great save.
Saved by Meslier.
Still live. No, it's not.
St. Maximin puts it in the net, but it's called up.
Do we know the nature of the injury from Linton?
I don't think so.
It looked like a muscle injury, if I'm honest. I don't think it was an impact injury. It looked like he maybe pulled something, which those ones can be actually worse sometimes. And if you do get a bit of a clip around the ear, as it were. But yeah, again, as we mentioned earlier on, no goals whatsoever in the 3 Premier League games going on
goal
so
fest
far.
Predictions, isn't it?
Well, say that, but there is a goal fest in the Championship, and the game at the Majeski is absolutely on fire, Matty.
It's a corker. It's 3-3 already. Half time. 3-3 between Reading and Huddersfield. Michael Morrison there, right on the stroke of half time, equalising for Reading. Danny Ward's had a brace for Huddersfield. Big game that, and we mentioned the fact of the big teams at the bottom of the Championship, Reading being one of those and 20th. And again, looking at previous years in the Premier League, you've got Hull City down there, you've got Cardiff City down there, you've got Swansea City down there. So there's some big clubs at the bottom of the Championship at the minute.
Absolutely. 6 goals in the first half at the Majeski. Who would have thought it? And definitely some big scores still to be settled in the Championship on today's Saturday football show. It is definitely half-time at Old Trafford. What kind of second half can we expect, Lewis, here from Manchester United? Because again, they failed to break down the first half, or break down the team in the first half, and now they've got it all to do in the second half.
Same thing you always expect from United. Individual brilliance or just horrific football. One or the other. It's never in between.
The latter
never
today, it seems like.
Yeah,
Surprised
long may
that
it
one's
continue. But like,
I must admit, I
it's one or
thought
the
this
other.
might be a free-scoring game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it still might be in the second half. You never know.
And we
but-
talked about West Ham's forward line with Antonio Fornals and that playing behind him, and
Lanzini
Ronaldo
as well,
and Rashford and everything starting for Man United.
A chance here for Leeds. Maybe at the end of the first half, it's cleared away and it's headed over.
And that is
1-0
half time.
to Yeovil at home to Wrexham. My old man did used to play for Yeovil, and I was
So did
talking-
Curtis, actually.
For Yeovil?
Yeah, he's
No
played
way.
for
I
Yeovil.
might have even seen Curtis play for Yeovil, you know, that's crazy. Leon Best also played for Yeovil too.
Maybe that's
Big
where
up
he
Best.
knows Leon. but-
Maybe
Leon Best.
it is. Do you know what? That will be it, because
Yeah.
they did play at Yeovil. Half-time in a lot of games in the Championship and League One. Now, again, lacking real action in the Premier League, guys. I can't lie to you. We're still awaiting the half-time at Brentford against Wolves at home. The half-time whistle has just about to go at Ellen Road again. You can guarantee the atmosphere is going to be spicy at this one. How is the second half going to go for Newcastle? Because let's face it, they have to win this game, and almost every game, really, if they're going to stay in this league.
I think we need to make sure we don't lose this game is the most important thing. Make sure Leeds don't get out of that position
Take 2
where
points away from them.
take too far away. Because if we even get a point today with 3 points off safety with the game in hand, so that's not too bad. It's not the end of the world. But I don't think the half-time whistles came at a good time for the Magpies, to be honest, because we were all over them there. We're all over Leeds. We look like the team that's going to score. We're creating chances. We're getting shots peppered towards Meslier. You know, we're in and around their box. So it hasn't came at a good time, the half-time whistle. Let's hope we can continue. The XG isn't looking too great, though. 0.52 our XG. You know, it's the problem. It's the problem of, you know, no one ever brought Chris Wood in, but it cannot stop there. We're still linked with many other strikers. Zapata from
You were linked
Atalanta.
with Aubameyang, weren't you? at one
Aubameyang
point?
on loan, maybe. He's meant to be going to Saudi Arabia, is he not? Aubameyang?
No, I don't think
loan
so.
offer from
I don't
Al
think so.
Nazari from Saudi
Well,
Arabia.
who knows? We'll see
So
what happens
we
there.
need another striker and we need centre
I'd be
mids in, we
very
need
surprised if
centre-backs in.
Aubameyang went there.
Yeah.
Just to keep you guys updated, 19 added minutes at Brentford for the Brentford Wolves
got to be a
game.
record, hasn't
You
it?
say that there was 15 minutes
15
added
last
on
night.
last night in the Watford game
Really?
against Norwich.
Yeah. Dodgy lights.
And I think that might have been the record. Now it's probably been broken today. Big up to Shreth with the super chat that says La Liga and the Bundesliga are nowhere near as big as the Premier League, but it surprises me Haaland and Mbappe are not linked to Premier League clubs. Overall quality, example West Ham and Aston Villa, is great. It's
To
difficult
be
to
fair
link
to Mbappe,
these players with
he's
Premier
on the
League
record
clubs.
as saying that he dreams of playing
Of
for
course.
Real, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's
and you look at
bound to go.
Haaland, he's going to get tempted, isn't he, by the European leagues.
He's gonna go
I
Man
can't
City.
see
He's
him.
gonna go Man City.
I can't see him going to Man City.
No, 100%.
I
was
heard
Big
rumours of him
Steve.
going to Liverpool.
Huh?
I remember hearing rumours of him going to Liverpool.
There's
Timo
been
Werner.
rumours. There was rumours
yeah,
about
I wish.
Mbappe
Werner
because of
vibes.
the Nike link, but I don't think that's going to happen. But
I
big
mean,
up to you for the
there's an
super
obvious
chat.
link with Haaland, isn't it, to City?
Yeah, and that's
That-
that's exactly what Man City are crying out for.
Yeah,
If they
yeah,
sign Haaland, they are unstoppable. They've got everything but that striker, haven't they?
Mind you,
Yeah.
Chelsea said that when they signed Lukaku.
Look at how that ended up.
Yeah.
No, they said that, didn't they? They said that is the missing
Thank you
link.
for the reminder. I'm much
No, we have
appreciated.
to. Let's read out for you then the championship scores. Bristol 3-2 winners over Cardiff City at home today. Nottingham Forest, of course, winning 2-1 at home in the derby against Derby. Red card there for Ravel Morrison, who was a sub in that game. Maybe
Loves a red card.
Loves a red card, Ravel Morrison. It's half-time at Sheffield United Stadium. It's 0-0. Luton Town away there at Sheffield United, hoping to get a result. Swansea Preston is also 0-0. Reading 3, Huddersfield 3. That is the game of the whole weekend so far, I'd say.
Yeah.
6 goals in the first half there at the Majeski. In Blackpool, it's 0-0. Blackpool versus Millwall. Coventry are 1-0 down at half-time to QPR. Stoke trailing at home to Fulham. Obviously, 2 Carvalho goals that have seen them go into the half-time with that lead. West Brom 0, Peterborough 0. Bournemouth 0, Hull City 0. One of the bigger games in the Championship. And Birmingham winning 1-0 at home to Barnsley, thanks to a Hernandez goal in the 34th minute. And the last game that we're looking at in the Championship, well, actually, we're not looking at it because it's 7:45 tonight. It's Blackburn versus Middlesbrough. But there's your Championship roundup.
Talking of Blackburn, Heard the other day something that made me laugh. The Venkis are still in charge here, aren't
Still.
they?
Are they still there? No? Jesus.
I was like, right, I
That's
didn't
a
know
name
them
I
man was
haven't
still
heard
there.
in years.
Are they the guys that
Ruined.
have the chicken,
The chicken,
empire?
yeah, remember?
I remember seeing a crazy advert with a few Blackburn players eating
I think
fried
Sol
chicken
Bamba
and
holding
that.
a chicken. or
Peri
something.
Peri chicken.
Wow. Shocker.
Peri Peri
Thank
chicken.
you.
Do you know what? Still won a Premier League though.
Yeah.
Before we
it's
did.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't get into that.
Before Tottenham as well.
Well,
Alan
all
Shearer's
right, mate.
only Premier League. Alan Shearer's only trophy was.
Do you know what? I'm actually happy in a way that Alan Shearer actually won that
So am I,
because
'cause
he never
you
won
feel
anything
sorry
in
for him.
Newcastle,
No.
and he can hold on to the fact that he's won the Premier League at Anfield.
Yeah.
Actually, against Liverpool. Big Renty says Toney Beigebridge.
Shout out
Big
Toney.
fan there for
Yeah.
you. Don Juan says 31 years and 1 Prem. Liverpool. All right,
To
mate.
digress, I just wanted to
An
ask.
Arsenal fan can't really chat to me at the minute, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll take it from
Hey, look.
even Chelsea. I'll take it from City. Arsenal,
You're
the
in punching
Invincibles.
distance. You know.
All right, don't put your hand that close to my face again, mate.
But I just
All
wanted
right.
to ask Matty, like with regards to Eddie Howe, how do you think his impact has been at Newcastle so far?
Not as well as would have hoped, to be honest with you. Not as well as would
But
have
do you
hoped.
believe in
Passionate though.
Great, wicked. What they were saying, a cheerleader. Do you know what I mean? What we're wanting, what Disney, High School Musical. What we're doing?
We're all in this.
it? No, but
Yeah,
he's.
yeah,
I
see?
think it's fair to say that he's quite highly thought of young English managers. So
Yeah, he is. I mean,
Big
he
test
wasn't.
this for
He
him,
was
though.
linked with the England job and the Arsenal
Yeah, he
job
was,
a few years
yeah,
ago,
he
wasn't he?
was.
I mean, he's definitely got something about him where he is very well, sought after physiological wise and tactical wise. He's got something about him.
good
But
presentation.
we've only seen one win. Do you know what I mean? We've only seen one win. We've seen a lot of improvements structurally. We've seen a lot of improvements in formations, and like I say, dropping Joe Linton on back was well done. He's made him into a good powerhouse in midfield. But again, we're still not getting results on the pitch. So
And he
it's-
can't get
that's
the
most
defence
important
right,
thing.
which I have to say
That's
was
always his weak point, though,
yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. I was going to say that when he was at Bournemouth, that was a criticism of them that they
Yeah, he
conceded
plays
too many soft goals.
nice free flowing attacking football. We've seen quite a lot of pressing, predominantly in the Man United game, which we should have won. But you've got to look and you've got to think there's been 14 years of neglect under Mike Ashley. Very little investment. You can't expect that to change overnight. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we're trying to do it in January, a notoriously difficult window. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We just need to make sure we stay up, and then the summer can be the real rebuild.
Big up to Parisian Londoner in the comments saying, AGT, big up on your LFC bespoke suit quality. I did have a suit
Was
made
nice,
with the
actually.
lining of all the times that Liverpool have won the Champions Leagues. Speaking of Champions Leagues, Lewis, obviously you support Chelsea too now in the bag. We have had a super chat from FSG Are the Real Pagans. Guessing he's a Liverpool fan. Big up to you for the super chat. Since its creation, Arsenal 0 Champions Leagues.
Yeah, 0 Champions Leagues in the rest of London
There we
except
go.
Stamford Bridge. It's a shame. I know. It's
Is it a shame or are you quite happy with that?
No,
That's a
totally
crown
something.
Listen,
Wonderful.
mate,
Beautiful.
I've been
That's
to
a
a
Thank God
Champions
Giulio
League
Belletti
final.
smashed.
Do you know what? We've got a balloon
Mate,
here. Laurie, I don't know if you've seen what one of these looks like
I didn't
before.
even know they were still pumped up.
You won't have seen it.
Hey,
bro.
mate, we used to do the Champions League. That's
I
the-
tell you
You
what,
did
keep
used
these
to.
for tomorrow. I'll save it for the Spurs stream, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
and
think the
I'm
Champions
presenting
League
that
was
stream as well, bro.
Aye,
So
aye, guy,
I will
let's go.
be on that.
Listen,
one.
I've
Sorry
been,
for the
I've been
terrible
to a
football you're gonna
Champions
watch.
League final, myself and Robbie
In Paris.
in Paris.
06.
Great day out. Yep, great day out.
Been the quarter final back in the day, 2000s.
Didn't quite get it across the line, but hey, man, it was a great day.
That is what it doesn't look exactly like that. That is a balloon version of it, but we've obviously got 6 of them. Big up to the 40-year-old Virgil who says Alex is a crease. Thank you very much for that, mate. I'm
what?
guessing that means that I make you laugh. A crease. I don't know. Maybe. Listen, I'm not down with all the
That's
lingo
what it
these
means in
days.
Newcastle. So.
Well, there you go. I'll take the Geordie translation. Of
Sounds a bit dodgy to me, that one.
it. Don Carlo.
But if you
All
take
right.
it as a compliment,
No,
then
I'll
fair
take that
enough,
as a compliment. Don Carlo reminding us that Forest have 2 European Cups. Obviously, Aston Villa there as well.
It's not
Manchester
Champions League,
United.
is it?
It's
European
just that really
Cup.
counts, you mean?
Easier to win.
Or we're going
Easier
past
to
the
win.
90s, because if we
Well,
are, then Newcastle were unreal. Do you know what I mean? If we're going past the
Well,
90s.
listen, Leeds were in a Champions League
Exactly.
quarter final, weren't they?
We were
in the
doing
year
bits.
2000.
We were doing bits when the World War was on.
I must say,
No, like, other clubs love talking about history, so fuck it. We might as well go for
A comment for you here, Lewis, from John Walters says Lewis with the blow up like his
Don't
bedroom.
Oh,
That's a good one. I can give credit to
You can
good
take
ones.
that one. Take it on the chin. It means funny, says Danny Tafrodon. So thank you for that. I'm guessing.
What part of the word is that?
Crease is funny. So no, it doesn't matter what part. He said it's funny.
Down south, we don't know about that.
Big up to Billy, obviously a Newcastle Arsenal fan, I should say, saying no one can talk to us about being invincibles, though. That is the one thing that I guess Arsenal do have over.
We beat the Invincibles at their own ground, so that's all cool.
In the Champions League, Wayne Bridge.
Yeah,
2-1.
Wayne Bridge. Beautiful scenes. And then we bowled it in Monaco. But
no one else has done
it big time. Salah coming for Chelsea in the final, says Big Boy 2K8. Salah will be back in the Liverpool Red.
Marcos Alonso tax.
That's final.
Sorry.
Right, well, if we're judging Marcos Alonso versus Mo Salah, just rewind to about 3 weeks ago when he absolutely spun him
I'm saying
out the
when
ground.
he does it, Marcos Alonso tax. I'm not saying Alonso's going to pocket him.
Oh, you're saying that because you feel like Alonso gets away with a lot because he's left-footed?
No, I just think he gets away with a lot because he bagged 2 goals at Tottenham a few years back.
True, in 17-18 season.
I think Alonso is one of those interesting players insofar as fans from other clubs seem to rate him. But Chelsea fans like you that I've spoken to don't rate him.
Yeah, but like it's Sunderland.
I don't like him for the obvious reason.
And he scored against us at the Bridge the other year.
He loves to go against you lot.
Is that true then?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that if it's true or not, but I think there is a song that certain fans sing about Marcos Alonso, which we won't get into because I don't want to be cancelled. But again, it is half-time, still no goals because it is half-time. Oh no, it's not. It's still going on at Brentford versus Wolves. 19 minutes.
Brentford are in their own time.
I mean, what are the fans doing for 20 minutes? And I'm assuming that the guy in the stadium would have said, by the way, we're stopping this because of a drone activity nearby. What do you do as a fan?
Tell you what,
I'd say drink, but they don't give you pints in the away end.
That's
so
true.
Again, another reason to bin off Brentford, but we move.
Some West London hate there.
Yeah,
maybe.
it sounds
Who
like
would
it.
you say is your favourite rival to play against in terms of a Southwest? Let's call it
In terms of
Southwest
West London,
because it's not really West Chelsea,
Yeah.
is it? Southwest.
Yeah, Southwest.
SW6, right?
Fulham I like because it's got the biggest allocation. Plus, it's easy to get chance going there. They have a neutral zone next to us. But that just says how important the derby is to both teams. I think in terms of an actual derby, in terms of hatred and rivalry, I think it's QPR. It's the only one that we've had that's felt semi-serious. No, I thought we were talking about just West London. We're talking about London in general. Arsenal and Tottenham can be by far.
There's four candidates for a derby, isn't there?
But if it's West London, West London football's just horrific, to be honest. Last season, all 3 of them were in the Championship, I think. Actually, no, except for Fulham. But there's only one other team that comes up. They never stay up for long enough. I wouldn't mind a serious local derby, but there isn't one. There never is. So it's when one of you guys wants to step up and be serious, please. Because I'm begging for a semi-decent derby. We've got a bunch of little rivalries with everyone. We can name about 20, 30 clubs that Chelsea don't
That's what I was going to say.
But we don't have a big derby game.
What is your favourite game apart? I mean, derby games sometimes are overrated. They kick off early to avoid the drinking. Like you said, in terms of Chelsea playing a team that can challenge them, no one really in West London. But who is when you see that fixture list come out, which team do you look at and go, I can't wait for that one?
Me, personally, it's the Arsenal games.
Wow.
I grew up thinking Arsenal was the biggest London derby between clubs. But in terms of the fan base, it's Tottenham. They're always looking forward to the Tottenham games. The hatred for Tottenham is different to anybody else.
And you always beat them, right?
Yeah. I think we still haven't lost a game at their new ground. We used to call it 3 Point Lane, then we got battered there for about 4 years. Now, things have got back to normal. But for me, it's Arsenal, but it's preference. It's one of the North London clubs. But you look forward to both of them.
And they're all London clubs. Never mind the rivalry with Liverpool. I mean, that rivalry goes back
Liverpool,
to the Rafa
I think, is the second.
Jose
I think
era.
they're the second most hated club for Chelsea fans.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Champions League
the
days,
Champions League runs. We had about 5 years in a row. We played them back to back.
That one over the lane, wasn't it? Was it?
And then we get them in the cup one year too. So it's you play Liverpool 5 times a season every season. Something's going to fester.
It's we played you in the Super Cup. We beat you there. We played you in FA Cup finals. You've beaten us, Carling Cup finals, Champions League. I mean, some of those ties down the years.
There's been some big moments in there too. Even go further back, there was a $1 billion goal from Jesper Kronka in 2003.
03-04.
You got the Ghost goal. Remember, one of my earliest memories supporting Chelsea was Reina in that penalty shootout, just saving everything against us. Then you've got Frank Lampard, obviously with the sad situation with his mum, and then he scored the winning goal to send us to the Champions League final. That was a brilliant rivalry. Oh yeah, the Gerrard slip as well.
The Gerrard allegedly being tapped up by Chelsea.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
that was
for
controversial.
a team and club fan base that is so strong on telling us that Frank Lampard was better than Gerrard, he didn't half try and sign. No,
but you know what? I
He
second
wanted his
that.
understudy.
Understudy.
I second that.
Listen, I'm going to put my bias hat down for a minute. Gerrard is a better footballer than Frank Lampard, and that's facts.
Not for me.
Let us
No,
know in the
not for
comments
me
if you
either.
agree on DR Sports.
Not for me.
I'm not going to let anyone else speak on that.
for me.
I'm going to read out some comments. Big up to Simon, who says Chelsea ruins strikers and United ruin attacking midfielders.
I think United just ruin players in general.
In general,
to be
full
honest.
stop.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Like, we'll talk about Harry Maguire and how poor he's been at Manchester United, but when he was at Leicester, no one really cared too much. As soon as he went to United, as soon as he had the fat price tag on his head, suddenly he's a massive fraud. It's the nature of being at a club
that's
like
a good
Manchester
point,
United.
because at Leicester he was good, and let's be honest, with England he's good as well.
No, I think even at United, I think it's just more of a spotlight on him, really, because he's at Manchester United, because he's the captain of the club. He has to perform at a level that's close to it, and he's not doing it.
Yeah, it has to be said though, and it's similar with Arsenal. There are certain clubs that you go to, the scrutiny. If you make a mistake, it's
Pressure's
magnified.
on,
Yeah. Arsenal's a bit like that.
There has been a bit of a poll going on whilst we've been speaking, guys, which I didn't know about, but it is best midfielder, Vieira or Gerrard. There's been 924 votes. What do you think the answer was? I'm going to hide it in case you can see.
Well, you know what? Given
Give me a
that-
percentage
No,
as well.
let me just say this. Yeah, you know what I think, but I think that poll might reflect the population. So Gerrard is English, so people are going to go vote for Gerrard. But for me, Vieira hands down.
Hands down, he says. Lewis, what do you reckon the percentage-wise? Can I get another one of these as well, please, fella? What do you reckon the percentage is for Vieira Gerrard on this poll? Let's not forget.
Right, for who's been the better manager?
You know, Don Robbie channel, the DR Sports channel, there's going to be some Arsenal fans knocking about.
We'll go 70% Vieira then.
70-30?
Yeah.
Is that what you're going with? What do you reckon percentage-wise? And I'll reveal the answer now.
It's probably going to be about 70-30 in Gerrard's favour. Like I said,
Gerrard's favour. Well, you've seen, you can see
I've
this.
seen this as well.
Vieira is the winner.
Oh, wow.
With 57%. Gerrard getting 42%. That doesn't even add up to 100.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
99.
You compiled those
It's not-
stats.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about
Get a
false.
recount.
Hey, backroom
False-
staff, what are you
false
doing,
COVID
man?
test.
Champions
I don't know.
League draw.
Let's have another look at
It's
that
another
one.
Liverpool
dodgy.
false positive, eh?
Well, there you go.
Plenty
Well, we
of
didn't
them
win
as well.
it. We haven't won.
Plenty of them as well.
Big up to Shreth as well, who gives us another super chat. He says, it's cute you lot have done a poll on Vieira and Gerrard. AFC fans can win any poll. Let's be real, CFC were first to ruin football transfer with huge money. Some big shouts there.
Someone play a violin, please.
To Lewis.
Oh no, money,
is that
money,
your
I
one?
don't care.
Well, there's
By the
one-
way,
there's
get
one on
used to
open,
it, so you're
right?
going to have to deal with
Yeah,
this for
look,
the next
yeah.
50
Oh,
years.
listen to him. All right,
Newcastle were formed in 2021.
We're getting so much grief on Twitter nowadays,
be
mate.
honest.
I
It's
must say
mad.
I'm slightly surprised at that because I thought people might vote for Gerrard on account that he's which is understandable,
That's
being the
fixed.
English player.
That's an absolute joke. 90% of voters never even watch Vieira play. They base their opinions off him, off Ultimate Team and YouTube Comp, says
Vieira was a don, though.
NIB.
Vieira was a don.
If you are in the comments with us and you are
Don't get me
rocking-
wrong, Gerrard is an outstanding player
Well, you don't need to tell me that.
And
he's the
manager,
best English
apparently.
player of all time.
and manager, but definitely, you know what I mean. Actually, Vieira's made a good start as a manager as well.
He has.
Yeah, facts.
Even though Gerrard won away at Paddy V's Crystal Palace. And of course, Liverpool playing Crystal Palace
But let's
tomorrow.
be honest, Villa are a better team than
Yeah,
Palace.
absolutely. No,
But
I would say that.
seriously,
for now.
I just want to say with Vieira, the job he's done taking over at Palace, there was a lot of talk that they might go this season, weren't there?
Yeah, there
Roy
was.
Hodgson left, a lot of the players left.
There's a big call by Palace as well.
Yeah.
Like completely,
Yeah, it was, yeah.
completely
Yeah.
switching up the style of play, the management, because they were in safe hands with Hodgson. And you knew
I
they
must-
weren't going to
I-
go down.
I must also admit that I do kind of look out for their results because of Vieira, because I'm such a big fan of his.
Again, maybe another person in line to take over the Arsenal
Yeah,
job one
yeah.
day. Who knows? Guys, if you are commenting on
Now.
the stream, if you're enjoying the stream, remember to give it a like. It doesn't, like I said earlier, it doesn't cost you anything.
Smash the like button.
Just press
Smash
it.
that.
Smash it. in fact.
Smash the
Smash that
thumbs
like
up.
button.
Smash
Smash
that
the
like
thumbs
button.
up. Smash the thumbs
I
up.
hope
Yes,
you're
sir.
enjoying the Saturday football show right here on DR Sports. The second half in these games, it started.
Couple of
we're
early
back
goals for you,
into
Alex. Couple of early goals in the
second half.
Championship.
Give us an update in the Championship, Matty.
Sheffield United through Ryan Brewster have taken the lead against Luton Town. Luton Town are having a good season in the Championship so far.
Isn't he formerly of Liverpool?
Yeah,
He
sold
is,
him to
yeah.
them for 25 million.
Lots of
Never
talking
scored a pro
potential.
goal.
Lots of talking potential, even
Absolutely.
around Brewster, even
I
when he
was
was at
actually
Sheffield United last year.
Quite upset he left.
And Birmingham have doubled their lead at home to Barnsley thanks to Scott Hogan. Swansea have broken the deadlock at home to Preston as well, 1-0 up. There, Swansea.
Yeah, so listen, the goals are flying in the Champions.
Flowing in everywhere apart from the Premier League.
Man keeps on saying the
Championship.
Champions.
So I've got Champions League on the brain at the minute, being a Liverpool
They're
fan.
flying in everywhere apart from the Premier League.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We're
they
still
are.
waiting for goals. I don't
Newcastle,
even think
baby,
the
let's
first
go.
half is
Let's go.
over. At
Let's
Brentford.
have a quick bet, guys. Which game do you think you'll get the first goal in?
Newcastle.
I'm going to go with United, and I think it's going to be a West Ham goal.
Newcastle
How
1.
about that?
Newcastle 1-0. It's going to be a Lascelles corner.
Oof, big shout. Has that ever happened before? Who
I reckon
knows?
it'd be a Chris Wood against his old
I'd
team.
love that.
Yeah. Second half back underway. There's been another goal.
Oh,
2 more goals in the Championship, Matty.
the House Sheffield United, we just talked about them a minute ago. There, they've doubled their lead already through Jack Robinson.
Another former Liverpool player.
51 minutes in, 2-0 up now at home to Luton. And Coventry have found an equaliser at home to Queen's Park Rangers.
Let's see how that affects the table in the Championship. Then obviously
Tight.
some changes there from where we left it at half time. That means that West Brom stay where they are, but Sheffield United winning takes them up at this minute to 11th place. 2 former Liverpool players scoring for Sheffield United in the first few minutes of the second half. But still, no goals in the Premier League. Very interested to see again who scores first in this tie. Chelsea playing tomorrow, big game against Tottenham. We're going to be doing it on DR Sport. So if you are planning to watch that game, make sure you're locked in to here. It's going to be myself hosting Lewis and Fuad. What's the score going to be in that one? Because, again, a fixture that you've had so much success in recently.
Yeah, but I'm at a place where I'm really not confident about Chelsea, so I don't really know what to make of it. I think if the players turn up, they turn up because of the magnitude of the game. It's Chelsea-Tottenham. And I think you always seem to see the best Chelsea performances against Tottenham. But the way we've played, we've just been poor the last few weeks. So I'm not too sure what to expect, especially with Tottenham just coming off that big turnaround against Leicester a few days ago. I'd expect them to come with a lot of confidence. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect. I'm always going to go for a Chelsea win regardless, but is it going to be one where it's easy? I'm not too sure, because we could talk about the Carabao Cup tie between them, but I thought Tottenham just handed us the whole tie on a silver platter in the first 30 minutes. Tanganga, awful performance, passed the ball straight to us for the first goal. Second goal, rebounds off 2 players. The third goal, the goalkeeper mistimes his punch. We did well through it, but they made it very easy for us. So in a space of one game over 90 minutes, I don't really know what to expect. I really don't, but
I think
have
the
to wait and see.
determinant factor in this game is the fact that you guys are at home. I can't see Tottenham beating you at home, but I could see a draw.
That's the thing.
Because you're the draw specialist.
And
straight
they
away.
are happy with a draw because they got 4 or 5 games
So
in hand
you
on us
guys
already.
draw every week.
No. But that's the problem. That's literally the problem. They can draw this game and they can overtake us based on their games in hand. We have to win this game. So you could see a very negative Tottenham performance.
Is it
but
inconceivable that Chelsea could drop out of the top 4
Nope.
by the end of the season?
Nope, definitely not. I don't think it happens still. I think we stay in the top 4. But the way we're playing, we are running out of time to drop points and still be able to pull everything back. Tottenham are getting games in hand on us. All of our rivals have games in hand over us. And we're not going to get any until after the Club World Cup. So I don't really know what to expect on that front. But we're not doing our job. And we're now starting to get to the point where we need to rely on other teams to do us favours. And that's always a rough part, because then your job isn't in your own hands. It all depends on the scenario around you. We're not in a good place. Really depends on the result on Sunday. But if we got any chance of keeping Tottenham quiet, we have to win. But that's the problem. They don't have to win. We do.
Do you know if Chelsea don't get a result tomorrow at the Bridge, do you think Thomas Tuchel could be under pressure?
No. I think regardless of anything, Thomas Tuchel's got one of the safest jobs in the Premier League. I think everyone's overthinking about his possibilities of getting sacked just based off Chelsea's previous history. But I've said the entire time, I think everyone looks at Chelsea before we won our first Champions League, and we were very ruthless then, but we haven't shown the same level of ruthlessness with our managers. We give them a lot more time. So, and even with the Lukaku situation, that's brought him closer to the board in terms of the way they all handled it, because they handled it together as a group. And sources have come out saying that has brought them all closer together as a unit. So I'm under no worry about Thomas Tuchel. He's not getting sacked. We could finish 5th, we could finish 1st. He ain't getting sacked.
Interesting. Big up to GG, who touches on our AFCON coverage here on DR Sports, and he says Egypt have drawn Senegal in the World Cup qualifiers, apparently. Thank you for the super chat. That's obviously Salah versus Mane, which we could see also in AFCON.
They've squared up to each other a few times, haven't they?
Well, let's not get into that. But yeah, we could see an all-Liverpool final in AFCON. Obviously, both teams still involved. There have been more goals, though, especially in the Championship. And then we'll get another update from Matty with proceedings at Ellen Park. But what's happened in that game at the Medeski?
Game of the day.
What a game.
Doesn't it? And Huddersfield have taken the lead now at the Medeski. Danny Ward, 53 minutes on the clock. They are 4-3 up away to Reading. Reading, who are struggling there, lingering just above the relegation zone in the Championship. Massively need some points, and goal fest there at the Medeski.
Yeah, 7 goals, wow. Another goal at Blackpool. Just the first goal. That's Shane Lavery putting Blackpool 1-0 up on the 55th minute in the Championship. Again, still no goals in the Premier League. It is now half-time. Brentford versus Wolves. A corner coming in here from Leeds, Matty.
Oh, no, Leeds. Shaw just gets it away from Newcastle. Only is 4.
If all the games was to end up 0-0, would that be a first in the Premier League? All the matches
probably
must be.
I feel like it's happened
before. Some goals coming,
but I just don't recall when because it's all 0-0.
So which one do you put last on Match of the Day?
Probably Brentford.
No, Brentford Wolves said the drone thing. They might be second for that.
Or first. Who knows?
Yeah,
because they'll be building the Leeds Newcastle thing as the relegation dogfight. They'll be building the Man United West Ham game as the top 4 push.
Don't worry, we'll make up for it tomorrow with goals at the Emirates.
Super Sundays tomorrow.
Who knows what's going to happen at the Emirates tomorrow? Of course, one game already finished today in the Premier League. Everton losing at home to Aston Villa. Let's talk about Everton briefly.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, you can't guarantee that you're going to beat Burnley.
I am guaranteeing.
He's putting it on record.
He's an idiot for doing this because if you now lose at home tomorrow, that is going to get clipped up and you're going to go around.
If we lose tomorrow, then I'm sorry.
Arteta out.
Clear this time, right?
Okay. Well, there you go. There's Laurie's.
No, I'm only joking. But seriously, we should win tomorrow.
Let's talk briefly about Everton. Obviously, you know, guys, I live in Liverpool. I get a lot of stick from the Everton fans, which I didn't think would happen. But since moving there, I realised that the bitterness is real.
There's a bounty on your head.
There is no. I wouldn't go that far. Not yet.
I'm in a good position tonight if anyone wants to send it my way.
But let's talk about Everton, Lewis. I mean, obviously, they brought Rafa Benitez in. Always a contentious figure to bring into a club, especially Everton after his success at Liverpool as the manager. Was that always doomed for failure, that role at Everton for him?
Yeah, because not even because of him, because the Everton fans were going to give him a fair chance. Yeah. I think it's because of the board, it's because of the players, and it's also because of him as a manager. All of it is just a perfect storm. And for the Everton fans, it's horrific because they got players that don't look that invested. They got a manager who just reminds them of Liverpool's success.
Rafa.
Literally. I mean, the guy sold their best player to Gerrard. Like, I'm not surprised that they feel that way about him. But everything there's a failure. Like, from top to bottom, there's no positivity at Everton at all. And then you bring in a Liverpool legend in as coach. Like, it's just a slap in the face to them, really.
It was a bewildering appointment, wasn't it? It just didn't make sense. That they flew him out on a private yacht to France to interview him and everything. And it's just like, why? What were they hoping to get out of that? It's just unreal.
One thing that I have to maybe defend Everton fans with is, yes, you can blame Rafa Benitez, ex-Liverpool manager. You're obviously going to turn on him quicker than you would another manager because of his Liverpool past. But let's not forget, this guy had no money to spend. He was buying Begovic and Rondon. These are rejects from 2015.
Demarai Gray for £45.
No, but Demarai Gray's been one of their better players.
And can you blame him?
Astute signing.
If you're an Everton fan, who does the blame lie with? Is it the owners? You've seen the protests after the game today. They want the board out. You've seen that Rafa Benitez got a very tough ride there as well, but he had no money to spend. Who do you blame for this Everton downfall?
Well, you got to go with what Lewis said. It's a combination of all three: players, board, and manager. I mean, to be honest with you, when there was this furore over Benitez taking place, and listen, I can't really speak for Everton fans because obviously I've got no real connection with Everton. I don't live in the area, blah blah blah. But I thought that was
around that area.
No, I thought it was a decent appointment, to be fair, because let's face it, Rafa is a good manager.
Is he or was he?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But I thought it might work. I thought that he was a good enough manager at that stage to have a sufficient enough impact where it could be deemed as working.
But you need money.
You do need money, but even so, even allowing for the lack of spend, they're still underachieved. And once they started to lose games in that fashion, it was always going to go one way. Because like you said, he's not going to be given any credit in the bank, is he? It's a bit like when he went to Chelsea, wasn't it?
Mm. Yeah, but with us, that was because of the history of Liverpool as well.
His success with Liverpool is coming back to haunt him in every job he goes to.
Yeah, he did say a few things in the press conference, but it's the things I'd understand if I wasn't a Chelsea fan. Like, he said he wasn't going to apologise for the stuff that he said as Liverpool manager, which, fair enough, really. I personally was never really that arsed with the Benitez appointment. Like, I didn't hate it. It was just, he's here till the end of the season, whatever. If we can get top 4, it's fine. And he got top 4 and won us the Europa League too, so I'm okay with all of that. But for Chelsea fans, like I already said, Liverpool, one of the most hated clubs for Chelsea. They're not going to deal with a Liverpool legend. It's the same energy for Everton, which is why I understand their side of it too.
But you can't blame him for that. You have to blame the people that are giving him these opportunities, no?
Yeah, but it's also up to him whether he takes it or not. Because I know he took the Everton role because he lives in the north and it's a local role to him. Which again is completely understandable. I get it. But if you're going to go to big rivals of your ex-clubs as a manager, you are going to have to deal with the fallout of it. Like, if you went to Everton, you have to succeed. If you don't succeed, they're going to be on your necks from the start. Everton, let's be real, depressing football club. Absolutely depressing. Let's be real about it. And if you bring a Liverpool legend in there, holding a Champions League medal on his neck, you're 2-0 down to Liverpool.
Let's not forget, he's also called Everton a small club. He's
What?
also, in the past, as a Liverpool manager, called Everton a small club. And when that news broke that he was sacked at half-time, last week when we were playing Brentford at home, we were singing Rafa, because it's Agent Rafa.
Because he's Liverpool. That's the thing. And with those words, I didn't even recognise those quotes as well. All the more reason why if you go there, you have to succeed. That if you start dropping a bad run of form, even immediately, they are going to be on you because they've got no reason to back you. They got no loyalty to you. You were the enemy.
And not only that, you have to remember as well that Rafa took that job. He knew that he lives in Merseyside, doesn't he?
He knows the rivalry.
It's just a personal reason, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
There's
no real affection for the club or anything like that. He lived in the area. It was convenient for him. I'm sure he was on a nice big bag.
£6.5 million payout, and I'm pretty sure he's still living off that Newcastle payout as well.
He will be.
And I'm pretty sure he's going to get another job. Maybe
very
even
soon.
in the Prem.
Probably
soon.
goes back
very
to
soon.
Newcastle
Right,
if
some
the job
breaking
comes
news
up.
for you in the Championship. Apparently, sad news here from the Ricoh Arena. Coventry versus QPR game. I think the score was 1-0 to QPR. The game has been stopped. Oh, it's 1-0, I do apologise. The game has now been stopped due to a fan collapsing in the crowd. Again, another thing that we've seen a lot of. The game has now been suspended. Guys.
It's just worrying, isn't it?
Coventry, the game's
been
been suspended,
seen
guys.
it a lot of the minutes, so hopefully
way too often.
Hopefully, best wishes to the fan that has fallen ill at the ground. Hopefully, he recovers all right. He or she recovers all right. But it's just a shame to see it happening yet again.
Yeah, no, it really sends shivers down your spine when you see something like that, which is definitely is not what you want to see. Right, let's have a clip now from Nicky again from West Ham TV talking about Lingard potentially moving back to West Ham or potentially moving to Newcastle. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Even with some of the players that they're linked with, like Lingard, do I think he's going to go there? Why would he go there? Why would he? You know, if he's got any aspirations, the only reason that you would go there now is for money. You know, if you've got any aspiration, any sort of England player that's on the, you know, he came here last year, he got back in the England squad, he got himself on the brink. He's thought he'd give it a go at Manchester United again. It's not worked. Now he's looking to get out. He's in the last 6 months of his contract. He can come back here, or he can go there. Personally, you'd want to come back here unless it's for money. And I think that's what I said this last week. That's what Trippier's there for. It's money. But they're not the people that you want in your football club when you're under increasing pressure. Even with some of the...
Whatever, mate. Whatever.
Cheer up.
But,
Do you know how sweet this cake tastes?
So what do you want me to do? I've got to go.
So good.
I'm already late. What do you want me to laugh for? What should I laugh? And don't chuck it, Alex, because if you get beaten, you'll be gutted as well. So don't chuck it.
Yeah, but I don't have to get to Bournemouth by 7. Oh my God.
Anyway, thank you very much.
This is unbelievable. Come on, Ty, man. We've all had fun.
Why are you trying to chuck it? No, whatever, man.
That is a definition of a sore loser.
Go in, you can say
AGT, congratulations,
Thank you, Robbie. Come on, Ty. I shook your hand like a...
Whatever, man.
I shook your hand.
Whatever, no, whatever.
What do you mean, whatever? I shook your hand.
I mean, whatever.
Bro, come on, man. That's my jacket. You're not taking my jacket, bro. Ty, are you really going to leave it like this? Ty, I shook your hand. Wow, Robbie, did you see that?
City to win it. Man City to win it.
Yeah.
Liverpool second. Chelsea third. Arsenal fourth. Tottenham fifth.
But if you're fourth, who's going to be eighth?
Piss off. And then I don't know, you know what, you make a good point. But then so West Ham are in Europe as well. This is why I think it's going to affect them. United sixth. And then the bottom, Norwich gone. Watford. I don't know, it depends on
out of 2 cups in 2 weeks, you know
Burnley
that
are back,
rugby
but I
is
think it
free.
could be the goodbye Burnley.
Oh yeah, bye-bye Burnley.
It might be.
Bye-bye
But
Burnley.
then
I
Newcastle, I
can't
don't know.
believe
It depends who Newcastle buy. City to win it.
Lots to watch on DR Sports. Of course, you've just seen Best of Enemies, the quiz between myself and Ty and Nikki there, talking about Jesse Lingard potentially going to Newcastle. When you are linked with players now that you have the money, does it ever cross your mind that these players might be going just for the money and they don't actually care about the project or Newcastle as a place?
Well, big up Nicky from West Ham Fan TV there, but let's be honest, mate. You know, he's saying, why would he go there? West Ham were fighting relegation every year until 2 seasons ago. So less of that, Nicky, right? Less of that, Nicky, right? We fight relegation this year. Then if Lingard comes, he keeps us up, then he's part of the richest football club in the world. He's part of a huge rebuild. He's part of endless potential. We can be the next Man City. So why is he asking why would he go there? There's a lot to go to Newcastle for. But just because we're 19th in the league at the minute.
Great.
We're exactly, loads of balls. But if you're 1 or 2 wins away from getting out the relegation zone, there's a lot of potential there. It's just because of the mud we're in at the minute.
But one of the big factors for all these players joining your club is going to be the money. And when money is involved and you take a job based on money, are you going to care about it as much as if it was your local team or if it was a team that you've been at for years?
Well, the worry for Newcastle is that you recruit mercenaries.
Yeah.
The thing that comes to my mind is, remember when QPR got all the money? You know, throw money at the likes of Chris Samba and
Chris
players
Samba,
like
that was it, yeah.
like Remy and stuff like that. Of course you don't want that type of character, that type of player, especially when you're second bottom of the league. You need players that are going to fight for the badge, fight for the shirt, give their all. Now that's the worry. That's the worry that you're going to get with, are they coming for the wrong reasons? And you're going to get that for a long time. Do you look at when Manchester City first got taken over, they were signing Craig Bellamy, Gareth Barry, Rocky Santa Cruz, Robinho. Robinho was there for all the wrong reasons. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful with the recruitment process. You do. But that's their job to do that with the agents and with the player. What Newcastle need in is quality, and we're severely lacking that. So Lingard would improve that massively straight away.
I could see Lingard going to Newcastle.
He wants to move. He wants to move. He said he wants to move.
It's almost like he's been held back, if anything.
He is, because Manchester United want money from him. Manchester United want the permanent deal. Yeah. Lingard wants the loan. Newcastle want the loan. He wants to keep these options open for the summer in case we do go down. So, but Man United are thinking, well, he's away in the summer when his contract ends anyways, so we want a fee from him.
Yeah,
so that's the sticking point at the minute. We nearly signed him the other night.
Apparently, according to Simon in the live chat here, Phil Jones is about to come on.
Oh, no, come on. I thought he was going to come to Newcastle. That's all right.
You might end up with him, mate.
No.
But apparently he is coming on for Manchester United. There must be an injury there at West Ham. But 72 minutes gone, guys, and it's not looking good for United. Again, Laurie, as I said at the start of the show, it's looking like they're looking for some kind of last-minute winner, a moment of brilliance. Chance for Leeds here, and it's gone back across the goal. But Laurie, talk to me about United 0-0 after almost 75 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that scoreline, I must say, surprises me. I thought there'd be goals in this game. How about getting Ronaldo off again? Get him off and get another striker.
Cavani?
Yeah.
Cavani on the bench, Rashford on the bench as well.
Yeah,
Went for a bit of a weaker team.
Get Rashford on. I reckon that might happen, you know.
Yeah, well, 68,
Another
69
3 or 4
minutes.
minutes. Don't be surprised if you see him coming off. I mean, I don't know how he's playing. But if they need a goal, then, you know.
Just to give you a little update, the Coventry QPR game is back on. Also, Rashford is on for Manchester United. 15 to 20 minutes to go there. Rashford is on for Manchester United.
Who did he
substitute?
I'm assuming it's Ilanga. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming it's Ilanga. Shiv says Don Robbie Light. I guess talking about you, the light version of Mr. DR himself. Right, we are approaching the business end of these fixtures, guys. Half an hour into the second half. We've got about 15 minutes to go in all the games, apart from that Brentford game against Wolves in West London, which was, of course, suspended temporarily due to a drone activity. There was also that horrible news of a fan being taken ill at the Coventry game. That game is now back on again.
Who's going to break the deadlock, guys?
Who is going to break the deadlock? We had a little bet at half time to see who would score first. Is it looking like Newcastle?
We haven't seen much
I'm
this
going
second
for
half
United.
compared to the first half. Was a lot, and it's been a much cagier second half here at Ellen Road. A lot of injuries as well, a lot of stoppage in play. Kieran Clark, God almighty, Kieran Clark is now coming on for Newcastle. He is absolutely lifting. How is he still coming on? He's not Premier League quality.
Would a draw suit you guys?
I'd take a draw.
You would?
Yeah, take a draw away in the Premier League, but take a draw because, again, it goes back to the point of, if we draw this game, we'll be 3 points off safety with a game in hand. We win that game in hand at home, then, you know, we're
plus psychologically going to Leeds is a decent point.
Yeah, especially the form they've been in, beating West Ham last week and everything. I'd definitely take a draw today, to be honest with you. Captain Lascelles is off though. Kieran Clark is on.
Captain fantastic.
Captain dog shit. He's absolutely off, mate. Captain Lascelles couldn't lead a pack of ants to a picnic. He's absolutely horrendous.
Goodness me. Big up to Arctic Tempo, who says Laurie has the cheekiest grin at DR Sports when he's having a dig.
I'm not sure what to make of that. But I do like the banter. I've been called King Troll a few times in my life.
I would call you that. Actually, yeah, you are. You're the biggest troller I know, actually.
Really?
Or from you when Ty's in the studio.
Well, yeah. Well, that's part of the course, isn't it?
But this guy loves to wind me up. I'm thinking, though, right? Like, if these games all end up... there was a goal earlier in the day.
In the Premier.
Corner Newcastle.
Corner to Newcastle, 20 minutes to go at Ellen Road.
One of the lowest scoring
ever
match days of all time.
Maybe it's us. You know, maybe it's us doing jinxing it.
Nice seeing you, lads. One off.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be a flurry of late goals.
I think we'll definitely surely see a goal somewhere.
Anthony in the comments asking, will there be a winner in the West Ham Man United game?
I think so.
Lewis, without giving your prediction away, obviously we're saving those right up until the end. How is this game gonna? I mean, if it does end a 0-0 draw, this can't be good for Ranić. The pressure already is going to mount on him.
What a shame, eh? what a real shame. But yeah, I think it just fits into what we've been saying about United over the last few weeks. Since Rangnick's come in, they've not been consistent at all, and it's just shown that it's not even just the manager that's the problem; it's the players overall. Granted, we aren't seeing the game, so we haven't got a clue what's going on, but United, from what I'm guessing, are just struggling to break West Ham United down, which is, again, typical. They haven't been consistent throughout this season.
Yeah, not long for Manchester United to win this game. There's only 15 minutes to go. Leicester versus Brighton, another game that kicks off tomorrow. All the games tomorrow are at 2 o'clock. Arsenal, Burnley, Chelsea, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, and Leicester Brighton. That's what it says on this graphic. It might be wrong, to be fair. But Leicester versus Brighton tomorrow. Obviously, guys, we're not all big Tottenham fans here, but Tottenham did nick, incredibly, that last second almost. Last kick of the game almost.
2 in 80 seconds.
Against Leicester in the week. There's this age-old adage that people keep throwing at Brendan Rodgers, Lewis, and that is that he is a bottle job.
Goal! In the Premier League.
We have a goal. We'll get back on to Brendan Rodgers and Leicester Brighton tomorrow, but there has been an away goal for Wolves at Brentford. I'm guessing this is the start of the second half. It's João Moutinho with the goal. Obviously got a winner away at Old Trafford against Manchester United very recently. But Matty, let's come to you. What does this goal mean for Wolves in good form right now?
Big goal for Wolves away at Brentford. More bad news for Brentford. They're on a bit of a slippery slope now after a good start in the Premier League this season. But Wolves there, the main little man, Moutinho, popping up with an early goal in the second half, 48 minutes in. Good start for them in a season that's been going well for them, hasn't it, under the new manager?
Yeah, we've had our first goal of the day in the Premier League, Laurie, and it's gone to Wolves.
Yep, Moutinho, good player. Wolves have been on a good run of form recently, so that scoreline doesn't surprise me. We got them in a couple of weeks' time as well, so yeah, I'm kind of looking at that game sideways too. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Actually, it's not a result, is it? But I'm not surprised by that scoreline because, like I said, Wolves are in the ascendancy, whereas Brentford are definitely not. Their form has tailed off quite dramatically recently.
And let's not forget, this is a Wolves team without Raul Jimenez starting in the game. A big result for them if they can keep it that way. And of course, it is only the 48th minute because there was that interruption with a fan being taken ill in the crowd. Let's touch back to Leicester and Brendan Rodgers being a supposed bottle job. I've seen a lot of other fan channels freely calling him this. I would refrain purely because of the respect thing. There has been a goal, though, that we must talk about, and it has gone to our friend here in the studio. It's just broken here on BT Sport, but let's go to Matty for the next 30 seconds at least, because apparently there's been a goal at Ellen Road, but who's it gone to, Matty?
It's gone to the Toon Army, baby. Let's go, baby. Woo! Premier League quality. Let's go. John Joe Shelby. Doubt him now. Where's he been? Here he is. 1-0 Newcastle. Yes, John Joe, lad. The ball comes to him. Newcastle were on the attack. They won a free kick on the edge of the box. Javi Manquillo, and I'm guessing it comes from this. Llorente gets a yellow card from the build-up. We're yet to see the goal in
probably
real
a
time.
long-range shot now,
but it's 1-0 Newcastle. John Joe Shelby in the 75th minute. Get in there.
Obviously
Absolutely
scored
buzzing.
recently at Anfield as well in a game that we were both at. We met each other before that game. He continues his goal-scoring run here, John Joe Shelby,
he's
a
a
former
legend.
Liverpool player. Just before we update you on the goal from Shelby, once we get to see it, there has been another goal in the Championship, another goal at the Britannia, and again it's Fulham. It's Bobby de Cordova-Reid in that game who, and let's not forget, Stoke started off that game winning, so they'll be gutted now to be losing at home to Fulham. Obviously a team on the ascendance in the Championship. Also another goal in Bournemouth. It's Hull. It's a late away goal for Ryan Longman to put Hull City 1-0 up in Bournemouth. In League One, Wigan, again another team that could easily be in the Championship, are winning at home now to Gillingham. A Will Keane goal in the 77th minute. We're just getting eyes on this John Joe Shelby goal now.
Spicy.
And it's a good goal. He celebrates with his famous one of these celebrations.
Why does he do that?
Should the keeper have done better there, though?
Sponsored by Specsavers. Not sure.
There you go.
Unbelievable,
I thought
though.
it was mocking Bielsa.
Wait, you're
there with the
sponsored
last
by
game.
sponsored by Specsavers, though?
No, we're not. Shelby is, though.
Why
got a
is
brand
he
deal.
sponsored? Oh, has he got a brand deal with them?
I don't know. He just does that every time.
Love it.
Who cares? Drills it into the bottom corner.
Good goal.
What a free
Good
kick
goal.
by Shelby.
Should
Great
that have
goal.
been saved, though?
Great
I'm
goal.
going to play devil's advocate, Lewis. Should that have been saved by Meliele? A lot of Leeds fans very excited by the prospect of this French young keeper, but should that have been saved, Lewis?
What's his relationship
I do
with
want
the
to see the
fans,
second
Shelby?
replay on this before I make my call, but here we go. So the goal's coming up now.
Free
I mean,
kick,
it's
edge
not
of
a
the box.
position where you should be conceding. The keeper's
Oh, keeper
goes
doesn't
through
get
his
enough on it.
hands.
Keeper doesn't
keepers.
get
Is there a
AGT.
deflection?
It
Was
goes.
he obscured?
No deflection. The keeper's.
Keeper's on
That's
a
a
It's gone
shocker.
right
Keeper's
through
on a
his
shocker.
hands.
Meliele,
Butterfingers.
hang your head in shame. Leeds fans will be absolutely fuming with that. And that makes for a great last 15 minutes there at Ellen Road. I can't wait to see how this one turns out because you know Leeds are going to turn up the temperature in this one, Laurie.
Newcastle 1 point off safety now. 18th
1
place.
point off safety. It's looking
With a game
good.
in hand. With a game in hand as well.
It's looking good for Newcastle.
Yes!
Listen.
Saudi Mags, let's go, baby.
Still time to go. Let's not write them
There
off
is a Newcastle.
too early.
Newcastle notorious for giving away Leeds, they've dropped more points from winning positions than any other Premier League side this season.
Wow.
21 points from winning positions we've dropped.
Big up to Earth Extremities, who says DR Sports is so good and AGT is a very good host, and the panel are called to please get Matt on here more.
Yes, who's listening? Eh?
Who do we need to speak to for that to happen?
I want to do a BT Sport thing. Yeah? Get the contract out, sign it.
Put whatever you want on there.
I'll put in a good word for you. Just a quick John Joe Shelby story, actually. Anecdote. I used to work with a guy at one of my previous jobs who played football at youth level with John Joe Shelby.
My sister went to school with him in Essex.
Yeah. And he said to me that he's a very talented player, but the problem is he's always been a hothead, even from back in the day.
He was at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Got sent off against United.
Is that a fair reflection?
Absolutely. It's always been about John Joe's temperament, really, and his mentality. He's got it at his feet. I mean, he was
a bit like me, really.
He came to Liverpool as the replacement for Steven Gerrard, didn't he? He was meant to be gradually brought in there to replace Steven Gerrard. He was there for years, didn't quite work out for him after impressing at Swansea City. Came to Newcastle. You get 1 out of 10 games from him. It's his inconsistency. It's which John Joe's going to turn up today? Is it John Joe Shelby from the Premier League, or is it John Joe Barry from Sunday League? Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes you'll get like a Sunday League player who looks hungover, looks at he cannot be bothered, not interested.
Really?
And one day you look like he's good enough for England. Look at him, how good he is with his ball at his feet, set pieces.
He's got a good range of passing when he's on his game.
Excellent long range shot as well.
He's got the most successful long range passes in the Premier League this season, more than any other player at any other club. So
a mate of mine, this was years ago. He told me, he said, "Listen, man, this guy's a good player, but proper nut job."
Yeah, he is.
He's a bit of a nut job, apparently.
Yeah, if he sorts his attitude out, he's quality on his day.
Listen, another chance for Newcastle here. There's a corner. Another change at Old Trafford. Martial is on for Greenwood, which is a big shock considering that Martial allegedly turned down the opportunity to even be in the squad in their last game, Lewis. What did you make of the little back and forth between Rangnick and Martial, which again emphasises the fact that there's fractions here? It's Martial last week, it's Ronaldo this week.
Rangnick got caught lying. It's
Caught
peak,
slipping.
man. That just loses a lot of credibility immediately. And because he's the one that's had to fake everything. Martial's literally come in and just said this guy was talking breeze about him. So I don't know what to make of it, because it's very early into his career where there's already a bit of fraction between him and the dressing room. I don't know, because Martial has been in the peripheral of the team for the last 6 or so months, and he's barely had any impact on the side. He's looked like a shadow of the player that he was in 2020. If anything, it looks like he's on his way out.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's just a case of Rangnick pushing out the players that already look to be leaving the club. But it's a surprise that 2 different sources are saying 2 completely different things about the same situation. Good. Even the manager's usually lies to protect the players. He'll try to say something about himself, or he'll try to say something controversial so the pressure gets put on him instead of the team. So for him to just outright lie about something and then for the player to come out and say something completely different, just shows there's more discontent in the dressing room, but just Man United things.
It is, and very much the discontent is continuing to rumble at Old Trafford, even with the new manager who is supposedly supposed to come in and sort it all out. Still 0-0 there at Old Trafford. Manchester United hoping for some kind of result here. Newcastle, again, looking on top in this one now, Matty.
All over Leeds here, all over them. So it's typical that Newcastle will probably go on to concede a late gutting equaliser, because Leeds have been quite poor this game, to be fair, considering how dangerous they've been in recent fixtures. Like we've mentioned, the West Ham who kick-offs there.
Wow.
He's doing a Ronaldo.
Wow.
Who's that Leeds player there? Thinks he's Ronaldo. Clicking off.
Clicking off.
when he goes off.
Very good.
I must say, I hate to see players do that.
Just respect the manager's decision.
It's very disrespectful.
You've obviously been
and it's
shit,
also
that's why you're getting
disrespectful
taken
to
off.
the fans, don't you think?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Yeah.
If you're a fan of that club and you see a player openly showing disrespect like that,
I think what it shows as well is disrespect. If that's someone's role model, especially Ronaldo, if the kids are watching and they think it's acceptable,
exactly.
when you get taken off to disrespect everyone and have a little whinge. You can have kids on in the games on Saturday morning throwing the jackets around and throwing his head up in the air because they think it's.
It might be me showing my age, but I think that's the other thing that really winds me up as well is when players get taken off, especially if they're not winning the game. So, you know, a player gets taken off, you know what I mean, and they start sulking, walking off slow, and get off!
Get on with it.
You know what I mean? There's another guy who needs to come on, you know what I mean? Get off the effing pitch.
Yeah.
That really winds me up as well.
A lot of love coming in the comments here for West Ham, people wanting West Ham to nick it maybe at Old Trafford. Another goal in the Championship, Matty. Who's that gone for?
Well, West Brom have doubled their lead now. Colin Grant 5 minutes ago looks to have secured 3 points for the Baggies at the Hawthorns. Big win that for them if they do manage to hold on, as that'll see them push up to 5th place in the Championship. So it's getting tight up there.
5th place in the Premier League right now. 5th place is Manchester United. 4th place with this result of a draw. It could be West Ham going into that 4th position, which definitely does suit Arsenal going into their game tomorrow. Also, this win for Newcastle, if it does stay the same, means a lot for them as well. They're 18th currently. This win
a penalty there for Sunday?
would give them...
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Should be a penalty. I bet it's not given though, is it?
Surely VAR's got to look at that. That's stonewall.
I'm telling you, man, it's bullshit. This every week, man, I'm bored, man.
To me, that looks stonewall.
That's a stonewall penalty, isn't it?
Unless there was no contact.
That's a foul anywhere else on the pitch, which for me means
that is horrendous.
Do you know what happens now? Is Leeds get an ugly last-minute equaliser now. You know for a fact.
No, but surely VAR should look at that.
Surely they look at that and they see that that's a clear and obvious clip on St. Maximin.
Unless there was no
all day long. Well, we've just seen it 3 times there, mate. It looked like a penalty. It's honestly, man, you don't want to come onto this thing about controversy and everything, but since the takeover, we've had no decisions given against us. No decisions at all.
To me, that was a penalty.
Interesting. Yeah, it definitely looked like a foul.
The Premier League, everyone else wants us relegated, man. This whole richest club in the world thing.
Getting a tap on the back for his colleagues.
Big up to Shreth, who's been sending in a lot of super chats today. Big up to you. He says, crib to play. PR stunt is working for PL players. Example, Lukaku and Martial. To be honest, I'm shocked Maguire is United captain. Can anyone say what he's shown to be able to get that role in the first place? Lewis, when we're talking about captains for these big clubs, you want them to be the leaders. Obviously, they have to be starting every game if you're the captain of Manchester United. We've seen Harry Maguire especially be dropped recently. Going forward into the next season, if you are a Manchester United fan, who do you want to be the captain?
I mean, as soon as Ronaldo joined, I would have probably given him the armband, to be honest. Because you could say he's a bit selfish and everything, but like he's got a winning mentality like nobody else, and I think that counts. I think that counts enough for him to get the the captain's role. Like, I don't think you have to be one of the best players in the squad to be captain, but you can't be one of the worst either, and that's what Maguire plays at. Like, I know we said he was good at Leicester, and I do think if he was at another club, there wouldn't be as big of a spotlight on him. But let's be real. Since he's been at Manchester United, there has been long periods of his time there where he's been one of the worst players on the pitch. And then you're looking for someone for inspiration, and it's someone you're carrying. So to me, that makes absolutely no sense. Your captain is the face of your club. And if he can't perform consistently well, if he can't get anything out of the players around him, then it even like you look at the stuff of him on social media. Like, I think they lost to Sheffield United at home, and then he put an Instagram post of his passing percentage from that game. They bottled a lead to Everton in the last minute, and then he posted a photo of his Man of the Match award. Like, this is your captain. Really?
Well, I can't disagree with anything he's just said.
That's very
spot on, Lewis. Spot on, mate.
And for me as well, I'm going to say this. Yeah, he should have been stripped of the captaincy after that
the Greek thing.
Yeah.
There's
no way.
The Greece thing where he
people
tried
talk about Aubameyang, but for me that is worse.
I tried to get out of jail by saying I'm Man United captain.
Like, really as well, get out of jail.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the guy captaining your club. Like, I love that it's Manchester United, but same way, if it was Chelsea.
No, but listen, Aubameyang.
We can talk about Chelsea captains having some pretty significant headlines as well, but we won't get into that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
what was Aspi in the headlines for? I don't recall.
I know, you know who I'm talking
about. No, but for me though, after that Greek,
about.
Don't you think after that Greek incident, he should have gone?
Well, listen, that incident in itself, if that happened to a John Terry, which it kind of did, maybe not in the way that he. Well, I've mentioned his name. It's not the same. But what I'm saying is, look at the headlines that JT was involved in 2010. He gets stripped of the captaincy for England. So maybe there's different treatment. There you go.
Yeah.
Right, 91 and a half minutes gone at Old Trafford. It's really looking like this is going to be a draw, which would be a horrible result for Manchester United. A great result for David Moyes. Don't forget, this is him coming back to his former club at Manchester United. This would be a great result for West Ham, who apparently, according to the comments here, have almost scored many times here in the last few minutes at Old Trafford. So that one is still 0-0. It's still 1-0 to Newcastle against Leeds at Ellen Road. Remember, if you are enjoying this stream, please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already to DR Sports. We're here every Saturday and Sunday giving you the Saturday football show and live watch-alongs of the biggest and best Premier League games, as well as AFCON and Champions League and FA Cup when they come back as well. Matty, we'll come to you. Not long to go now at Ellen Road. Is this going to be a Newcastle win?
It's hard to say because, like I say,
it's a goal. I'm going to have to come back to you. There's been a goal at Old Trafford. Marcus Rashford is the scorer. Laurie mentioned earlier that he thought there would be a late winner for Manchester United. It might look like that now. Marcus Rashford, Matty, came off the bench and he scores for Manchester United. Is this going to give them the 3 points in the very, very depths of the game?
Dying stages, you're wondering why is Rashford not starting? And he comes off the bench, shows Ralph.
To be fair, he's been pretty poor.
He maybe should be. Well, he could finish against Brentford the other night as well, though, and he's scored again. That's 2-2 now for Rashford. What a win that'll be, though, for them on the top four push.
This goes back to what I was saying at the start of the show, Alex, when I said about that comment from
93rd minute.
Wow.
That comment from Jordan Jarrett Bryan when he said that United have enough quality to score their way to fourth place, even though they're not a good team.
Yeah.
And you've seen that here.
And that's what's going to happen today.
That's exactly
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's extra
a great point from Jordan
that they've got.
Great point from Jordan. Right, Manchester United have scored 3 1-0s in the Premier League today. Maybe 4 if you include the earlier kickoff. Marcus Rashford scores for Manchester United. It's so late. It's so great for United. 3 points for them. It looks like are in the bag. Newcastle have still got some holding on to do. There was a chance here for Ryan Fraser, who goes for goal. It's just wide there. The 93rd minute, that game looks like it's going to be over any second now.
If Newcastle don't win that game and that penalty,
this is what it's been like all season, though. I mean, you look at Man United, were 1-0 up. Watford last week were 1-0 up until the 89th minute. There's been so many times where we just can't hold on to the win.
Is that a fitness thing, a mentality
Full time,
thing?
Manchester United have beaten West Ham at Old Trafford. Again, a very, very late winner. It was just what Laurie in particular predicted. He said there was going to be a late winner at Old Trafford, and there is. Manchester United again they'll be disappointed with their performance, but they've got the 3 points. They're in the bag. Full time at Old Trafford, Manchester United win. Our focus turns now to Ellen Road, where there's only a few minutes to go. There will of course be more time than any other game today in Brentford due to that 19-minute postponement due to the fan becoming... due to the drone. I was getting confused with the commentary and QPR game there as well. In the Championship, Swansea have beaten Preston 1-0 at home. A big win for the Swans in the Championship, which takes them up the table a little bit. But all eyes are now looking to Ellen Road, Laurie.
Hold it up, Chris Wood, man.
Newcastle hold on to this big win at Leeds.
I hope so, because they look like they've deserved it. They should have had a penalty. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to look at that again, but I can't understand for the life of me why they weren't given.
Honestly, it's every week, mate.
Yeah.
It's every week since this takeover's happened.
My good friend Matty here, and he, he's all fired up. I'd hate to see him get deflated in that way.
Honestly, just because he's sitting next to me right now, I want Newcastle to see this one out. I want them to see this one out. So full time in the earlier kickoff, as you already know, Everton losing at home to Aston Villa. Manchester United, the only other game to finish in the Premier League today, apart from that first one. They've won at home to West Ham.
With that win, they'll go above West Ham into fourth.
I think United go into fourth and West Ham drop down into fifth. Let's get a refresh of that Premier League table and how it looks now. West Ham, again, that needs to be refreshed. There we go. There's the full-time score. Obviously, Manchester United had that game in hand, which they've won today, 1-0 at home to West Ham, and they go up to 4th in 39 points. West Ham now in 5th with 38 points for Manchester United. West Ham in 5th with 37. Only 3 wins in the last 5 for West Ham. 2 wins in the last 5 as well now for Manchester United. A mixed bag of form for them this season. Again, going back to Jordan's point about them being able to pick up 3 points from last-minute winners, that's what they've done today. How long is there going to be at Ellen Road? 92.5 minutes played there, and we're looking at 5 minutes of added time. So this could be a huge win for Newcastle. Is it only his second win, Eddie Howe, if this stays this way?
It'll be Eddie Howe's second win of the season, Newcastle's second win of the season. Obviously, Steve Bruce couldn't get a win in those opening 10 or so games. This is massive,
There has been some more action at Brentford with 20 minutes to go. There's been a red card in that one for Wolves. Totti Antonio Gomez on the 68th minute gets a straight red card for dangerous play. That one still with 20 minutes to go. Charlton have won at home to Fleetwood in League One. Sunderland win 1-0 at home to Portsmouth. Another chance for
Chris Wood
Newcastle.
over the ball.
Talk to me, Matty. I know you're watching this one.
Jesus. Chris Wood against his former side. Deflection. Was it over the bar? Did he just spin it over the bar? Looks like he just put it over the bar. Newcastle have had endless chances here today. This game should be out of sight. We should be 3-4-0 up easily. This game should be put to bed every week. It's stress watching Newcastle. It's so stressful because we'll never make it easy. It is a corner, though.
If you're a Leeds fan, after a huge win last week at West Ham, you've now potentially lost at home to Newcastle, who again have only won 1 game the whole season. How do you view that as a Leeds fan?
You're in the fight.
Leeds were always there or thereabouts, but I always think with Leeds, they'll be worried, but they'll stay up. I think there's too much quality in the squad, and also the style of play that they play. They have a very front foot style of play that will allow them to get points, and I don't think that they're going to go down anyway. But a loss in this sort of game, a game that they would be expecting to win, it just adds to frustration. But it has
another chance for Newcastle.
Big chance missed.
Close the game out, man.
Big chance missed, I believe, from Joe Willock.
They still can't close the game out, man.
Big chance there for Newcastle to double their lead away from home.
Who did
Joe Willock?
Joe Willock, mate.
Brilliant work from Alan St. Maximum again.
Look at that from there.
He's got to do better than that.
He's got to score from there.
Yeah, unlucky there from Joe Willock. We're still
not unlucky,
hanging on
just
here
a shit finish.
At Ellen Road, can Newcastle hold on and grab those all-important 3 points in the north against Leeds? Wolves still 1-0 up at Brentford, even though they only have 10 men now. And in the Championship, the scores are coming in. Yeovil, who were ahead in the first half, my dad's former team, have now lost at home to Wrexham from Wales.
It's a goal! Brentford!
A goal in West London. It's gone to Ivan Toney. An equaliser just shortly after Wolves went down to 10 men. Matty Laurie, a huge goal for Brentford.
Ivan Toney, the talisman.
And it's full time. It's full time at Ellen Road.
Come on.
Leeds 0, Newcastle 1. You're going to have to spud him. You're ignoring the spud. John Joe Shelvey gets the winner. Matty, I'm going to come to you very shortly, but that's a huge win. The second win of the season for Newcastle. Only their second win. It's unbelievable. We're almost in February.
You know what it is? Matty's going to have to come down and do these more often.
100%. Every week, baby.
It's a good luck charm. Matty, talk to me about that. What that win means for Newcastle. A huge 1-0 win away at Ellen Road.
Ain't nobody, John Joe Shelvey. Ain't nobody makes me feel this way. John Joe Shelvey, baby. 1-0 Newcastle. This is massive.
I'm happy for you, bro.
Thanks, mate.
The best looking player in the Premier League.
I'm the best looking guest on the DR Sports Show. But 1-0, 1 point.
The best looking white guy on it.
1-0 now for Newcastle. 1 point off safety with a game in hand.
I want him to stay up.
And it sucks Leeds back into the fight. It sucks Leeds back in the fight. And also, we'll look at the transfer window. We'll look at the transfer window now. If we had lost today, maybe the likes of Jesse Lingard will look and think, Newcastle, a bit of a risk. They're a few points off safety. We are now 1 point off 17th with a game in hand.
Yeah, Lewis, huge
massive
one.
Result, massive.
That for Newcastle, a big win away at Leeds, which is a tough place to go, whatever anyone says. How big is this win for Newcastle?
Well, let's keep them level pegging with Norwich City, who obviously got their win against Watford yesterday too. And like they've been needing to rack up points as well. You started the season abysmally. I think you didn't get your first win until December or something like that.
Against Burnley,
Yeah, so like it's always about whatever points you can rack up, and getting a win at any point in the season for you guys is going to be vital. And it's just all about just keeping it up. But you guys are doing it now. If you guys can get 1 or 2 players in again before the end of the transfer deadline day. Who knows? But I think Newcastle stay up anyway. I'm not really too fussed about that.
Let us know in the comments what you think this means for Newcastle, this win. Does it mean they stay up now? Very early to say them kind of shouts. But again, without Almiron, he was on the bench today. You had some big players that went off injured. You can see a lot of topless Geordies enjoying the warm weather in Leeds.
The January weather in Yorkshire.
Exactly. It's going to be horrible up there. But a big win for Newcastle away, a big win for Manchester United at home, a big win for Aston Villa away at Everton. Things don't get any better for Everton after losing their manager or sacking their manager, Rafael Benitez, in the week, which leaves them 16th in the table. Newcastle in 18th, very close now to coming out of the relegation zones with that game in hand as well, let's not forget. Wolves can move up to 8th place if they keep this result of a draw at Brentford, which will be a disappointing result for them considering they went 1-0 up and considering they now have 10 men. Let's go to the Championship and round off all the scores that has happened there today, because again, a lot of goals in that league as well. And let's see how the table looks after those results in the Championship. Let's click that now and see how that looks, Laurie. A lot of goals gone in the Championship today. Let's see what the table looks like. Fulham still at the top with the 3-2 win away at Stoke today. Bournemouth losing but staying in second. Blackburn staying third. QPR winning 2-1 and they will stay in 4th place.
Looking at it, there's goals in every game.
Every single game in the Championship. Let's run through them now then. We'll start off with Bristol 3-2 against Cardiff. Again, that kicked off before we were on air today on DR Sports. Nottingham Forest winning 2-1 at home to Derby. Sheffield United, a huge win. 2 former Liverpool players scored 2 goals for them. They win at home against Luton Town. Swansea beating Preston 1-0 at home. Reading losing that game at the Madejski to Huddersfield. What a game that was. 6 goals in the first half, only 1 in the second half, but that's the goal that proved to be decisive for Huddersfield. Blackpool winning 1-0 at home to Millwall. Coventry 1, QPR 2. Obviously that game was slightly delayed due to the fan becoming ill. Coventry looking like they're going to lose this one at home. Andre Gray and Albert Adoma scored in the 88th minute for QPR, a very recent goal that could take them up the table. Stoke losing at home to Fulham after again going ahead in that game thanks to a DiMaggio Wright Phillips goal. Rodrigo Muniz scores after 2 minutes to bring it back to level terms, but Bobby Reed gets the winner there for Fulham. As well, West Brom 3-0 winners at home to Peterborough today. Bournemouth losing at home to Hull City there with a Ryan Longman goal in the 77th minute. Birmingham winning at home against Barnsley. Scotty Hogan there with the winner for Birmingham. And that's it for the Championship. Still the game going on in Brentford against Wolves. That's 1-1. How do you sum up this day today, lads? Interesting in the Championship, not so much in the Premier League, but still some massive wins. Let's start with you, Lewis.
Just disappointing, really. Like a draw for United and West Ham would have been a great result for us, but United 90th minute win attacks always happens. But we're here. As long as we do our result against Spurs, it don't mean anything. I need Chelsea to turn up, but yeah, just a bit disappointing.
A big day of football for you tomorrow, and we will be live on DR Sports with that game. Chelsea versus Tottenham. Can't wait for that one. We're going to have Fuad and Lewis in the studio with myself hosting. Matty, sum up your thoughts right now. Forget every other game.
A smile as big as the tune, mate.
Who cares about the other games? It's all about the Newcastle game. It's all about John Joe Shelby, isn't it? Really?
Talk to me about what this means.
It's huge. It is massive. This result for Newcastle. Like it cannot be because we stay in the fight now. If we get beat today, we're a few points got adrift, and you start to think, is it too little, too late? Yes, you can look to the riches and the fortunes.
Today, would it have been the start of the end?
Maybe, potentially, because we would have been 4 points off if we had lost today. And then it's about how do you recruit players and convince players to come in the remaining fortnight of the window if you're second bottom and 4 points adrift. But now when you're 1 point adrift with the game in hand, you think, right, well, Jesse Lingard, you come in, you help us stay up, look at what the future can be. We can be the next big gun. We've got all the finance here, we've got all the ambition to become the best. So if we stay in the league, there's nothing stopping Newcastle in the future, as long as we stay in the Premier League this year.
How do you sum up this day of Premier League results? By the way, there has been another goal, and of course we are staying on air until the Brentford and Wolves games finish. But there's been a goal at Brentford. Who has it gone to, Matty?
It has gone to Wolves thanks to Ruben Neves. Tried and trusty Ruben Neves with another goal for Wolverhampton Wanderers. 2-1 lead at Brentford with just over 10 minutes remaining, just over 12 minutes remaining, 78 minutes at the clock at Brentford.
And I'll tell you what, if Brentford lose that game, that's poor, because Wolves are down to 10 men.
10 men.
To get beaten at home by 10 men.
And you know what? Brentford really did give Man United a good run for their money the other day. Thomas Frank said they were all over United in the first half, which they were. But two central
but that
midfielders.
means nothing. I mean, look at our game.
Yeah, but you have to finish.
We went to Anfield and
Yeah.
we had 10 men we held out. We go back to the Emirates and we were very disappointing.
Talk to me.
Sorry, bro.
No worries. Talk to me about what this means then for Manchester United. They've scraped it, really. I mean, listen, we haven't watched the game. We don't know what the chances were. But they've scraped through today again. And it goes back to Jordan's point about them being able to scrape these results.
I remember when he said
really
that to me, right? It sort of sounded a bit incongruous, what he was saying. But then the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. And he's right. Like, you've seen it today. They've not been impressive, by all accounts, but they've managed to pull it out. Rashford coming on as a sub. He's had an indifferent time recently. He's even been getting stick by his own fans. But today, for the 2 games in a row now he scored, and they get the 3 points.
They do get the 3 points.
In terms of today, that I've really enjoyed coming on, really enjoyed having you as a host.
Oh, thank you, bro.
I'm pleased for Matty, because we all said, didn't we, beforehand, that we want Newcastle to stay up.
Yeah.
So I would, I'm pleased for them. A little bit disappointing we haven't seen more goals, but it is. We're getting a few now, aren't we?
We're getting a few late ones now. And
at least it wasn't a trio of 0-0, which I was looking at one point. It was 0-0
Or
every game.
of 4-0s, 0-0s. But yes, 2 central midfielders for Wolves today get the goals, Moutinho and Neves. Lewis, you're someone who supports a club that relies really on goals that don't come from strikers. I mean, that's not the worst thing. If anything, I wish Liverpool were a team that maybe shared their goals around a bit more. We're quite reliant on Mane to get, and Salah and Firmino to get all of our goals, and Jota now. What is it like when, because do you celebrate as much when a midfielder or a defender scores for Chelsea? They've been chipping in with a lot of goals this season.
We'll just take whatever goal we
take
can
whatever
get
you can get.
Personally, like, you do celebrate a bit more when it's an attacker because it's a rarity. But like, when the game's playing, you just care about whoever's scoring at a point.
Yeah, no, the defenders have done really well for Chelsea and midfielders getting the goals this season. It's been Werner and Lukaku who haven't scored. Did you see that quote from Werner the other day who came out and said, and it's almost quite naive of him, bless him, he said, I miss so many chances. As a striker, I should be putting these away, but they still support me, the Chelsea fans. What did you think when you saw those quotes?
Kind of wondered the same thing at points too.
No, I don't think he's being naive. I think he's being quite clever.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, it's
quite
honest.
Cute there.
It's
honest.
I
think he's being quite cute there. I think he's saying, "Listen, man, keep supporting me. I appreciate."
Yeah,
it.
and
he's showing the kind of humility that fans like to.
But that's the reason why they've still been supporting him, because he's been humble throughout it. He hasn't let his head drop. His mentality's been there. He's still one of the hardest working players on the pitch. Just the technique is not there. Absolutely not there. But we know what English fans are always like. We care about work rate. We care about passion. We care about if you actually keep fighting for the whole 90 minutes, as opposed to certain number 9s that we have there who just stand there tying their laces when they're meant to be pressing. But that's the reason why he preferred a Timo Werner. Like, even if the technique isn't there, like, we prefer
like
someone who tries. Yeah.
Dirk Kuyt always tried, and that's what we could never take away from him.
It sounds terrible even saying it. Like, at least you tried, but he did.
That should be the bare minimum, really, shouldn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. But say it to some of our other players, because Lukaku don't press to save his life. And I know it's a new system and everything, but would still like to see him try.
To be fair, though, you didn't bring him in here to press, did you?
No, but but you came in saying he's multi-dimensional and he was adapting. If you're adapting to a pressing system,
he has to say that.
No, but like, let's be real. If you're adapting to a pressing system, I would like to see you at least attempt to press.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm not. When I see strikers pressing, it doesn't impress me.
Strikers are there to score goals, mate.
Yeah, exactly. It's about scoring goals.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
It depends on unless you're Liverpool, unless you're Man City, it's not really going to work.
Yeah. City don't really press. They haven't got an out-and-out number 9 that goes up.
Exactly.
But
it's only Liverpool that press from the front.
Bobby Firmino's role is literally to be the first defender.
Yeah, but he's not your main striker though.
Yeah, but that's because we have interchangeable
It's just about giving the
wing forwards that can play and score as strikers.
I agree. Liverpool play a slightly different type of style in that regard, but I'm speaking as an Arsenal fan. When I used to hear people chastising Aubameyang and all that for not pressing, I used to think, I'd much rather him score goals. Thank you very much. Chasing around after the ball like a ferret and a hare, it's not really the one, is it?
Well, listen, it can work. It definitely can work. Let's cut to Saeed at Old Trafford. I'm assuming he's happy today. Obviously, a big win there for Manchester United at home to West Ham. It's not been the best of performances there, but Saeed, I've just seen a picture of him at Old Trafford. He's looking very happy. Let's see if he's happy the next time he's on DR Sports, because it definitely hasn't been an easy ride for Saeed when he comes on this channel. I remember myself, Liverpool beating United 4-2 away last season. I was throwing popcorn in his face. In his actual face. So
and when he hosted the West Ham Chelsea.
No, but as a fan,
as a fan,
right? Are you really bothered if you get a win like that?
You're not.
A couple of minutes. You don't really worry. You worry about the performance later on.
Well, the picture I've just seen of Saeed shows that he is extremely happy. Laurie.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, especially
but he knows it wasn't a good performance.
About.
Again, we haven't seen the game today, but we can assume, as football fans who have watched United a lot, if you're 0-0 until the 93rd minute, it can't be a great performance.
No, but what I'm saying is you will disseminate that later. On the day, you just want the 3 points.
Yeah, and that's
so
what they've got
if it goes off, if the ball goes into the net of one of the players' backsides, you don't really care. In fact, in some ways, it's kind of a little bit
more impressive that you can win ugly.
Yeah. So
let's get into some comments then before we finish the stream. Obviously, Brentford and Wolves still going, so we will wait for that to finish. But some of the comments are great. Professor Love for Me says, fuming. Watch all the Mancs come out the woodwork. That's what he's saying after United's late winner, thanks to a Marcus Rashford goal. Z Fitness saying Lukaku still a red inside. ... Killing Chelsea from the inside. Charles Lucas saying Manchester United so jammy like Tottenham. Raiden saying don't forget this was the team that got dominated by Joel Linton. Talking about Man United there.
Some respect on Joel Linton's name.
There you go. United fans have no shame, says Raiden. Big up to you. Charles Lucas asks a good question. Why do Manchester United always score in the last 30 seconds? It's a good question.
Is it down to fitness?
Is it Fergie time? There you go, Fergie time.
Z
Fitness says Wreck-It Ralph, obviously a reference there to
Ralph
Rangnick.
There has been a study done into teams conceding goals late, and they say that the things that will lead to that are lack of fitness, and by that I mean when people get tired they make more mistakes and not fully switched on. So that is apparently one of the main reasons that people concede goals late. So
not long to go now at Brentford. 2-1. It stays.
That will be very
to
disappointing
Wolverhampton.
for Brentford.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, let's look at some of the player ratings right now.
Your opponents are down to 10.
I can give you the ratings of the Brentford players. No one is over a 7 so far. So maybe a poor performance at home from Brentford. And this is a game, you might not necessarily expect Brentford to win this game, but when there are games for them to pick points up in at home, because let's face it, the teams that are coming up, the Brentfords, the who else came up last season? The Norwiches, who else came up?
Liverpool.
Not Liverpool. The Norwiches, the Watfords. These are guys that are almost expecting to win their home games just to keep them in the league.
What they did against us.
Exactly. So Brentford not winning today, that could affect them, Laurie.
How poor is that result looking when we got... And the thing is, we weren't even at the races. We didn't put a glove on them when we played them.
Brentford, you've got to look at Brentford though. If they go on a run where they can't pick up a win,
it's going to get
before they know it,
them.
they'll be sucked into the battle.
Yeah. And no disrespect to Brentford, but I could kind of see this happening.
Yeah.
Because what happens with some of these teams is that come up, you get that early, inspirational performances, and then they run out of steam towards the latter part of the season.
You got to think Toney's carrying them single-handedly. So without his goals, I'm sure they would be right in the mud.
Big up the Paladin HD says Martial changed the game, which is a big turn in fortunes for him, considering that he was accusing Ralf Rangnick of leaving him out of the squad not too long ago.
Well, Ralf Rangnick was accusing him of not
wanting to be in the squad.
So I would imagine that those two have had a chat. Maybe Rangnick's gone to him and said, "Look, man, you know what I mean? Maybe my words were a little bit ill-judged. I'm going to give you an opportunity. Are you up for it?" And he said, and he's answered in no uncertain terms.
Big up to, again, I don't believe it's Ty's son, but Ty Jr. has got in touch and he says Laurie is the Chris Camera of DR Sports. How do you react to that one?
I don't know how to take that, bro. I haven't got any hair. My man's got
Chris Kamara still rocking the perm.
Yeah,
as if it was 1982.
I've heard he's not been well recently.
Has he not?
Has he not?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Well, if that is true, send in our best wishes to Chris Kamara.
Legend.
Big up to Cammy. Right, more comments coming in. WWE fan says, according to the commentary, both Manchester United and West Ham United were poor and United pinched it. Being a United fan, happy we won, but it didn't sound like a great performance. There's been many examples like this season of United not playing well but still getting the win. I guess that's a sign of a good team.
Listen, at the end of the season, no one gives a fuck, do they?
Is this a good team though, Matty?
I don't think it's a good team. I think it's a good collective of individuals, but as a team, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Marcus Rashford, yes. Jadon Sancho, yes. Cristiano Ronaldo, yes. Bruno Fernandes, yes. As a team, no. As a team, there's no chemistry, there's no ethic, there's no plan. The knackered for me, Manchester United, there's a lot that needs to go on at that club, but they get the results, just like Laurie said they would, based on that individual brilliance. That little bit of quality that will take them over the line. That's what happened today. I'm surprised we didn't see more from West Ham. I thought they would have a lot more of a threat going forward.
A question for you, Lewis. There was again, we see these flags coming up now at big teams. When you saw Everton today get rid of the board, there was a flag, if you will, at the Manchester United game in the week where they said rotten from top to bottom. So that flag is telling me that it's not just the manager that you need to change, it's a lot deeper than that. Do you agree? Do you think Manchester United are rotten top to bottom?
Yeah, but I also think if you change the team right now and then you keep a good manager for about 3 to 4 years, you give him the keys and you allow him to assemble a team that he wants, he wouldn't really focus too much on the board because they have a much more successful side and they'd be in a much better position to win trophies. The board is a problem, but maybe because I'm not a United fan, I might be wrong on this, but I think the board's the least of their problems. I think it's the squad and the manager first.
Really? So you don't think it maybe stems from higher up in the board?
It might do, but we can't say the board haven't backed managers. I think the top 5 highest paid transfers in Premier League history are all United players and all recent. So they definitely do back the managers. It's just I don't think it's either the right managers or they haven't brought in the right personnel. So I think the problem is you either look at scouting, you either look at the coaching board in itself, or you look at the players that are in there too. You have a good squad, you have a good coaching staff. I don't think there's a problem.
They're not in a good place right now, but I would hesitate to say they're rotten from top to bottom. That might be a bit
over the top,
strong.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's,
well, that's their own fans.
Okay, but
for me personally,
there's no doubt they are underachieving. So there are problems there. But to say rotten from top to bottom, Matty just said they've got several outstanding players, so they are underachieving. But I think they have got enough there to have a fairly successful season if they get top 4, win a cup, you know what I mean? So, but hey, I don't want to talk about them too much. Let's talk about Arsenal tomorrow.
Big game tomorrow.
Actually, do you know what we can do just before the Brentford game finishes, which I know it is about to? Shall we reveal our scores?
Are we doing that now?
I think we should do that now. I mean, I can't see it changing too much. So let's go. Well, let's go from left to right. So we'll start off with Lewis and end up at Laurie. Again, these were predictions that we made at the start of the game. We're just checking now to see how right they are. So, Lewis, what did you go for today?
I went for Leeds 1.
Show us the camera as well.
Show the ball.
Leeds 1, Newcastle 0. Obviously got the scoreline the wrong way around. United, I thought we were going to lose, and West Ham let me down, typically, because it's not Chelsea. And Brentford 0, Wolves 1, which I was on my way to being correct in. And then obviously Wolves have turned it around now, but we move.
So yeah, Lewis there going for a Leeds win, a West Ham win, and a Wolves win. Maybe got one out of 3 there. Matty, let's see your predictions, and we'll come to you after me.
So I got 2 out of 3.
Not
right
bad.
there. I had Wolves to get a 1-0. Had Newcastle to get a 2-2 draw at Allen Road, and had Man United to get a 2-1 win against West Ham. So 2 out of 3 results, no correct scores.
Again, we're just waiting to confirm that Wolves win and that 3 points for Wolves at Brentford. Very close to finishing now. Myself, not too good, to be honest. I have gone for Brentford 1, Wolves 3. I've also said Leeds 1, Newcastle 2, so I've got that right. I've said Pooh 1, West Ham 1. Pooh being Manchester United, obviously a Liverpool fan, so that's kind of what I call them. It's not to be confused with Pool.
I thought that said Pool.
Yeah,
I thought it was Pool.
Not to be confused with
Pool.
Pool. It's Pooh.
Pool.
So I've gone from them to draw. Unfortunately, they've won. Laurie, I can't lie. I had a cheeky eye on your score, and you've done quite well.
That's what I heard.
Brentford 1,
Oh!
Wolves 2, which is the current score.
Got 1 correct prediction.
We're in added time at the Brentford Stadium.
I've got to
that
apologise
correct.
to Matty there. I had Leeds. I just
Sorry,
thought
mate.
that, Leeds at home after their win last week. I thought they'd be on, at home. I thought confidence of that win. I thought, and then Man United. So one
right. How many results?
1 right for me.
1 right. So I won. Is that what we're saying?
So yeah, Matty
had a good
Renton
day,
has won.
He's had a good day.
Say me up for next week, lads.
Yeah. Listen, just before we confirm that Wolves win, a couple of stats for you. Manchester United have now won 21 of their 26 home games against West Ham. They're unbeaten in the last 14 against them, and since that Carlos Tevez goal, I think you'll remember, for West Ham against United in 07. Newcastle picked up their first away league win of the season in their 10th outing. Drawn 3, lost 6. It's the longest they've waited for their first away win in the start of the season since 2012-13, when their first away win came in their 12th game.
Who have they got next week?
There.
Well, Laurie, we've actually got a Saudi Arabian team next week.
All right.
Because the lads are going on holiday. So they're going on holiday for a week to Saudi Arabia tomorrow.
Let's see how they pick up their form after that.
Their reward for getting knocked out the FA Cup by Cambridge was a week's holiday in Saudi Arabia. So they're actually playing a Saudi Arabian team next Friday.
Paid for by the owners, I'm assuming.
And then obviously you've got the FA Cup break, then you've got the Premier League break. The next game for Newcastle is on a Tuesday night, 8th of February, at home to Everton.
Wow.
Who will they be managed by at that point?
It's a very winnable game, man.
Yeah, if they don't get an appointment in by then.
So there's no game for you for 2 weeks
2 weeks now, yeah.
Wow, nice little
I
time
reckon
off.
that's a very winnable game.
Yeah,
Here's a stat for you though, Laurie. John Joe Shelvey has scored 61% of his Premier League goals from outside the penalty area. 14 of them have come outside of the box out of his 23. Of players with 20 plus goals in the competition, only David Ginola and Laurent Robert, both former Newcastle players, have a higher ratio of goals scored outside the box.
Two legends.
Let's go back now to Brentford. It looks like that game is now finished between Brentford and Wolves again. 2 goals for Wolves, 2 goals from their central midfielders that have won them the game in West London tonight. Wolves definitely picking up some form there.
That's a rarity though, isn't it? A team down to 10 men away from home. And they were 1-0 down, were they?
1-0 down, yeah. Or 1-1, was it?
Oh, it's been a goal.
Oh, you got that
what
right.
am I talking about?
Boy.
There has been another goal at the Brentford Community Stadium. Wolves 3-1 against Brentford. Is that not what I predicted here, ladies and gents, watching back
You
home?
just changed that a second ago.
I didn't.
No, I didn't. Brentford 1, Wolves 3. You can count your bottom dollar that Wolves have won this game now. Let's find out who has got that third goal at Brentford Stadium to really take the game away now from Brentford, the home team in this one, who really needed the points after a big loss away at Liverpool last week, and of course a big defeat at home to Manchester United. But the third goal for Wolves has been scored by Adama Traore.
I said that,
Is
didn't
he
I?
on his way to
Tottenham bound.
Tottenham?
Tottenham bound
Traore.
Tottenham
Scores
Traore.
in the 90th minute plus 6 at the Brentford
That
Community Stadium.
Traore scoring, that reminds me of the buses near where I live. You wait like ages
London
for
buses.
to come along, and then
That's
2 come along in quick succession.
That's an extra £5 million in his price tag to Spurs now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
The
all that
price
with the
has
gloves
gone up.
last week
Price
as well?
has
You
gone
know when
up.
he had his gloves
I
on?
don't know.
I
It
don't know
was,
what that
it was
was.
to raise awareness for BLM, I think. So it was a
Was
good
it?
cause.
Was it?
Apparently that's what he said on his thing. But 2 goals in 2 weeks there for Traore. Big up to him. Right, guys. It's been an absolute belter of a show here on DR Sports on the Saturday football show. Apparently the goal has been disallowed. So all of that chat, all of that hype for nothing.
You went right, mate.
You are right, not me. Wolves sneaking up the table quietly.
I got the most results right. So
you did. So Matty wins the prediction league today.
What's the prize?
A pint in the pub, probably on Jason. So he'll buy that, no doubt about it. Guys, it's been an absolute belter of a show today on the Saturday football show on DR Sports. Left to right, a big round of applause for Lewis in the building. You're going to see him back on DR Sports tomorrow. Chelsea versus Tottenham. Myself hosting. Fuad on the Spurs side. Lewis on the Chelsea side. It's going to kick off. I've seen how Lewis can react on streams. We've had Doyle on there during some tense Chelsea games as well.
There'll be a round 3 for that.
It's a round 3 for that in the final of the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, as it should be. Let's say a big thank you then to Matty Renton as well, coming down from Newcastle.
Great to be on the show.
A big win today for you. Big up to you. You can follow him on the Magpie channel. He'll be doing. You're going to be doing instant match reaction.
Oh, absolutely! For the first away win of the season, it's going to be a good one. Stay tuned.
Absolutely, and of course, I have to pay my respects to the Godfather. It's Laurie. How are we doing, fella? A big round of applause to him.
Big up.
How did you find today? Was it
fun?
I
really enjoyed it, man. Listen, hopefully I'll just bully up my brother and get him to come back on. But I loved it, man. Loved it.
Nice easy day for you because you don't play them or you don't play from us. It's been relaxing for you, but it's been stress for me. It's turned out all right in the end.
I know what that stress is like. I was stressed out the other day,
and myself,
especially when I had him here. Bloody on my case, you know what I mean?
Big up to you guys in the comments. You've really been getting involved today. Just to let you know, the game has finished now 2-1. It wasn't 3-1, it was 2-1 to Wolves in the end. No goal for Adama Traore. It was offside. But big up to everyone in the comments.
Imagine doing that celebration with the gloves and in front.
Well, that's the problem with VAR, isn't it? I've been AGT. This has been the Saturday football show on DR Sports. We'll be back tomorrow with the watch along live on DR Sports for Tottenham versus Chelsea. Until then, have a great Saturday night and we'll see you tomorrow. All the best. Get home safe.